A man in a white uniform walked through the hall, addressing a crowd. He requested everyone's attention and began his speech, announcing that in a few days, Princess Wei Wei would arrive at Outpost 11361 to assume her role as station chief. He explained that, according to imperial law, all 14,000 individuals at the station would become citizens under the command of Princess Wei Wei. He stressed the significance of the occasion, noting that being linked directly to the royal family was a rare opportunity, even within the Galactic Federation. Suddenly, a hand rose from the crowd, interrupting the officer's speech. Annoyed, the officer turned toward the crowd and demanded to know who interrupted him. A young man in a blue uniform, hand still raised, introduced himself as Wang Xiaofeng, a senior mechanical engineer in the weapons engineering department. The officer approached Wang Xiaofeng, staring him down. With disdain, he asked how a dwarf ended up at the outpost. Wang Xiaofeng, standing at attention, calmly replied that he was 180 centimeters tall, and that, by Earth standards, this was not considered short. Incredulous, the officer asked, "What does an Earthling like you have to report?" Wang Xiaofeng, slightly hesitant, reported that the outpost's ammunition reserves were critically low, and that measures should be taken to ensure Princess Wei Wei's safety during her arrival. Before he could finish, the officer cut him off, yelling, "Silence! Who do you think you are? You just arrived and already want to act like you belong in the front row?" The officer continued berating Wang Xiaofeng, questioning why a mechanical engineer from weapons engineering would concern himself with supply department matters. The young man, struggling to respond, was again silenced. The officer glared at him and declared that Wang Xiaofeng would be transferred to the basic maintenance team as of the following day. He added that he didn't want to see him again. Speechless, Wang Xiaofeng watched as the officer turned his back and ended the meeting. As he walked away with a woman in a pink and white uniform, the officer muttered that the HR department had lost control. As they headed down the hallway, the woman reported, "We've received news from the front lines. Another outpost, 12 light-years away, was attacked by the Jinglong race." She asked if they should prepare accordingly. The officer stroked his chin, deep in thought. "The Jinglong? Aren't they the ones who wander the galaxy, hunting advanced life forms?" After a pause, he reassured her. "No need to worry. There are 8 outposts within 12 light-years. It's not our concern just yet. Our priority is ensuring Princess Wei Wei's appointment ceremony goes smoothly." The woman nodded in understanding. The officer then instructed her to keep the information about the attack confidential to avoid causing the princess unnecessary stress. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng, now wearing his basic maintenance uniform, walked down a hallway. Suddenly, he collided with a young man in a blue uniform. The man apologized for not seeing him, making a remark about Wang Xiaofeng's height. A group of non-human uniformed individuals approached, joining in the mockery. One of them scoffed, "Is that the Earthling who supposedly made a fool of himself in front of the station chief?" Another added, "It's disgusting to be on the same team as this dwarf. Why doesn't he just go back to Earth?" Ignoring the taunts, Wang Xiaofeng continued toward his dormitory. When he finally opened the door, relief washed over him, but it was short-lived as he took in the sight of his messy room. Disheartened, he recalled the day he asked his parents if he could return to Earth, saying he missed them. In his memory, his father, holding a knife, harshly scolded him. "Stop playing the victim. If you can't handle these tasks, don't bother acknowledging us." Meanwhile, his mother tried to calm his father, but the memory of his father's anger was overwhelming. Wang Xiaofeng then remembered the list his father had given him. A notepad filled with seemingly impossible goals. Get married, have 10 children, make 100 friends, and buy a house of at least 1,000 square meters. At the bottom of the list, a chilling warning was written. "If you fail to achieve these, I will consider you as if I have no son." Wang Xiaofeng stared at the list, feeling defeated. He muttered to himself, "Looks like there's no going back to Earth now." A crowd gathered in the outpost's parking area, their excitement palpable. Shouts of, "Wow, the princess is arriving!" echoed as the spaceship landed. The crowd erupted into cheers, calling out, "Your Highness, the princess!" A beautiful maiden with silver hair, dressed in a regal purple outfit, gracefully descended from the ship. This was Princess Wei Wei, the much-talked-about royal of the Galactic Empire. The crowd cheered her name, pledging their support for her leadership. Princess Wei Wei, now standing on solid ground, acknowledged the crowd with a smile as she walked the red carpet. flanked by a tall, imposing man with blonde hair and gleaming armor. He was introduced as Li Ke, the Imperial Royal Knight. Standing before the crowd, Princess Wei Wei proudly introduced herself as the 133rd Princess of the Galactic Empire. Among the crowd, two individuals exchanged comments. One marveled at the fact that she was the new station chief, while the other declared their continued loyalty to her. Satisfied, Princess Wei Wei addressed them, proclaiming that from this day forward she had her own territory and subjects. Though she considered herself an illegitimate princess, she acknowledged that her new position granted her rare real power. The outpost, though remote, was rich in mineral resources, promising great profit. With a hint of arrogance, she commanded the commoners to work hard to secure her throne. Li Ke, sensing her overconfidence, leaned in and warned, "This place is not like the imperial capital, princess. Be cautious with your words and actions." Irritated, Princess Wei Wei snapped, "I know that already. You don't need to keep reminding me." However, her regal air was quickly shattered when she tripped over something on the ground and fell. Li Ke immediately knelt beside her, concerned. "Are you all right, Your Highness?" he asked gently. Embarrassed, the princess looked around anxiously. "Did anyone see that?" she groaned, wincing in pain. As she struggled to her feet, leaning on her knees, she angrily demanded, "Who's the idiot that left trash in the hallway?" Li Ke glanced around and, spotting someone, replied, "If I'm not mistaken, it must be him." He gestured toward Wang Xiaofeng, who was quietly putting tools away in a locker, unaware of the scene. Still irked, Princess Wei Wei complained, "I thought this outpost was supposed to be filled with elites. Is he also one of them?" Li Ke observed Wang Xiaofeng for a moment before saying, "Judging by his stature, he must be a primitive earthling." Princess Wei Wei approached Wang Xiaofeng, calling out, "Shorty, what's your name?" Startled, Wang Xiaofeng turned to her, holding a tool in his hand. "Do you need something?" he asked, unsure of what was happening. The princess looked him over, momentarily captivated by his appearance. Pointing to a backpack on the floor, she demanded, "Is this yours?" Wang Xiaofeng nodded. "Yes, it is." "You made me trip over it!" she accused, her tone sharp. "How do you plan to compensate me?" Panicked, Wang Xiaofeng apologized profusely, insisting that it wasn't intentional. With a mischievous glint in her eye, Princess Wei Wei touched his cheek with her index finger. "Of course," she said, "I might forgive you, if you show some sincerity." Confused, Wang Xiaofeng asked, "What do you mean by sincerity?" Realizing her intent, he quickly added, "Please wait a moment." The princess crossed her arms, smiling smugly. "Using my position to ask for favors never fails," she thought. Moments later, Wang Xiaofeng stood and handed her a small card. "Here, princess. Please accept this." Princess Wei Wei took the card and examined it. "What's this?" she asked, puzzled. Wang Xiaofeng, closing his eyes in a humble gesture, explained, "It's a voucher for the second cafeteria. You can exchange it for a luxurious seafood buffet. I've been saving it for a long time, but never had the courage to use it." Princess Wei Wei stared at him, incredulous. "Are you joking? Anyone stationed here should at least come from a noble family and have a few hundred star coins. I demand 200,000 star coins to make us even." Wang Xiaofeng, flustered, muttered, "Money? I've just finished paying off my student loans. I only have 200 star coins left." The princess was shocked. How could someone be so poor? She thought, astonished. Despite her own status, she couldn't help but find the situation somewhat amusing. From a distance, two onlookers admired the princess, commenting on her beauty. Meanwhile, Li Ke gently reminded her, "Your Highness, intimidating the staff might not be good for our reputation." The princess, raising her voice slightly, retorted, "I know that already." She then turned to Wang Xiaofeng with a smile. "I was just messing with you. It's impressive that someone so young is already a mechanical engineer." Wang Xiaofeng, visibly relieved, admitted, "That joke really scared me." Still smiling, Princess Wei Wei declared, "From now on, we're friends." She waved goodbye, adding, "I've got things to do, but feel free to reach out if you ever need anything." As she walked away, Wang Xiaofeng, still awestruck, commented, "The princess is really kind." But the moment was cut short when a group of people began glaring at him. Two women berated him, with one saying, "She's a royal noble who will live over 1,000 years. There's no way she'd be friends with someone like you." The other added, "Learn some self-awareness." Wang Xiaofeng shrunk back, embarrassed, as the crowd's disdain weighed on him. Bro, it's remarkable how much smaller our hero is compared to the rest of the staff, I thought. In her private living quarters, Princess Wei Wei punched a teddy bear in frustration. If I see that shorty again, I'll teach him a lesson, she fumed. Just then the officer entered, addressing her. Your Highness, is everything all right? What's going on? She demanded. The officer reported, a portal has been discovered near the outpost, and a large number of Xinglong are emerging from it, rapidly advancing toward us. I've made preparations for your evacuation, Your Highness. Princess Wei Wei's face turned serious. Evacuate? The station crew is fighting to defend the Empire's borders, and as Princess and Station Chief, I cannot abandon them, she continued. This outpost has the most advanced space defense equipment in the Empire. It's as fortified as a space fortress, and there's no safer place in this star system. I will stay and face the Xinglong with my crew. The officer, though concerned, accepted her decision. Back in the command room, he began to panic as reports came in. The Xinglong had used a portal to travel directly from 12 light-years away. One agent, alarmed, reported, a large number of gigantic life forms are rapidly approaching. 500, 550, 600 and counting. Another, shocked, announced, the number has surpassed 1,000. Suddenly, another alert came in. We've detected a high-risk target. It's likely the Xinglong King. The officer's face drained of color. Pacing back and forth, he muttered, even the Xinglong King has appeared? The target is clear. They're after the princess. To them, the star power of royalty is an irresistible lure. The officer recalled the day the outpost was established, boasting that it once had the most advanced defense system comparable to a space fortress. A fleet of heavily armed robots once floated in space, demonstrating the outpost's former might. Back then, they truly had the power to confront the Xinglong. But now, after a century without a single attack, the outpost had decayed. Defense funds had been siphoned off for years, leaving the system little more than a hollow shell. Bitterly, the officer concluded that their defenses were no longer reliable. Urgently, he ordered the activation of the outpost's self-destruct sequence and the immediate evacuation of the crew. Block the princess's signal receiver, he added. One of the men, confused, asked, what about the princess? The officer's response was cold and calculated. She fought bravely until the last moment, protecting the crew during the evacuation, and perished along with the outpost. After all, the Xinglong are after her. I can't be blamed. Cynically, the officer reminded everyone that they had all benefited from the misappropriated funds. If an illegitimate princess dies, I'll be demoted at worst. But if the embezzlement is exposed, we'll all spend the rest of our lives in prison. So choose wisely. One of the agents confirmed the order. The station crew has been notified. Evacuation is underway. Another coldly confirmed. Self-destruct is set to activate in 1 hour. Meanwhile, a horde of Xinglong of various sizes approached the outpost from a nearby star system. At the front of the swarm was their king, standing out with his blue armor adorned with red accents. His humanoid body had black dragon wings, a horn atop his head, and a menacing gaze. The disaster-level Xinglong King, a star space monster, weighed a staggering 89,000 tons. As the horde advanced, the battle finally began. Li Ke, piloting a fighter ship, barked orders at the soldiers. Prepare for battle. We can't let these disgusting reptiles reach the outpost. A squadron of robotic soldiers flew in formation through space, responding in unison, yes, sir. The Xinglong King, sensing an irresistible aroma from the outpost, launched himself into the fray, smashing through several combat robots with ease. As the chaos unfolded, soldiers shouted, run! And called for help as the massive creature approached. Li Ke, frustrated by the panic around him, shouted, what are you doing just standing there? This is the Xinglong King. Get a line of fire set up now. But one desperate soldier reported, sir, the weapons are out of ammunition. The reserve magazines are empty, and the combat suits aren't equipped with tactical knives. Li Ke cursed, realizing that the outpost had no decent weapons. Is this a mission or a suicide run? He muttered bitterly. In the back of his mind, he questioned whether the deputy chief had arranged for the princess to evacuate earlier, suspecting that he had known everything from the start. Combat robots clashed with the Xinglong in an uneven battle. One of the robots, panicked, warned, the princess is in danger. Meanwhile, the Xinglong King scoffed at the attacking robots. Space junk, he muttered, searching for the royal he sought. His gaze fixed on the outpost in the distance, and he concluded that the chosen one must be hiding there. Inside the ship, Lee Ke received an alert. A life form with high energy was approaching. "The king is coming!" he cursed, ordering an emergency evacuation. The Xinglong king tore through the outpost, destroying robots in his path. "Get out of my way!" he bellowed. As chaos spread, a message blared through the outpost's communication system, announcing the imminent self-destruct and urging everyone to evacuate in an orderly fashion. Explosions erupted as soldiers ran in panic. Lee Ke guided Princess Wei Wei toward the escape pod, warning her that it was about to launch. But when they looked out the window, they saw their only means of escape already flying away. Shocked, Princess Wei Wei and Lee Ke could only watch as the pod disappeared into the distance. Inside the station, Lee Ke was furious. "That despicable deputy chief! He's leaving us to die alongside the Xinglong!" Princess Wei Wei, panicked, grabbed Lee Ke by the shoulder. "What do we do now? Think of something quickly!" Lee Ke, distraught, lamented. "What can we possibly do at this point?" Suddenly, limping and with his arm in a cast, Wang Xiaofeng appeared. Princess Wei Wei, desperate, asked, "Are we really going to die here?" Wang Xiaofeng, surprised to see her still there, asked, "Princess, why are you still here?" Then, carried on Li Ke's back, Wang Xiaofeng reassured her, "You're lucky you found me. Otherwise you'd be stuck here." The princess, clinging to hope, asked, "Do you have a way to get us out?" Wang Xiaofeng smiled. "Of course. We're friends, right? I'll make sure we get out safely." Relieved, the princess thanked him. Li Ke asked, "How did you get hurt?" Wang Xiaofeng brushed it off. "It's nothing serious. Just a bit of carelessness." He pointed to a section of the outpost. "There's a production area with a few space shuttles that haven't been delivered yet. We can use one to escape." Wang Xiaofeng directed them to put on protective suits and set the coordinates for their destination. The princess, impressed, remarked, "You're surprisingly reliable." Proudly, Wang Xiaofeng replied, "Don't underestimate me. I passed the outpost's rigorous selection process as a senior mechanic." Suited up, Li Ke and Princess Wei Wei watched as Wang Xiaofeng worked at the control panel. Princess Wei Wei pointed out that there were only 2 ships left. Li Ke urged her to board, but the princess hesitated. Li Ke argued, "We're royalty and nobility. Compared to someone from a primitive planet like Earth, we have much longer lifespans. If you feel guilty about leaving Wang Xiaofeng behind, we can always compensate his family later." Just as they were about to board, Wang Xiaofeng, still limping, apologized for the delay and invited them to proceed. But as they reached the shipyard, they found it empty. The ships were gone. Wang Xiaofeng stood there, shocked. Where did everyone go? He wondered aloud, realizing that he had been left behind. He sighed, lamenting, "I'm not that big. They could have made room for me." The outpost's communication system announced the final countdown for the self-destruct sequence. Sitting on the floor, Wang Xiaofeng felt betrayed. "They lied to me," he muttered bitterly. "They said we were friends, and left me behind." Suddenly, he noticed something moving on the ceiling. A message informed him that the self-destruct countdown had reached 5 seconds. A deafening roar echoed through the outpost as Wang Xiaofeng came face to face with a gigantic, monstrous creature emerging from a crack in the ceiling. The information card revealed its disaster level. Cosmic beast, Balong, weight 21,000 tons. In tears, Wang Xiaofeng pleaded, "Please, don't take me away." Meanwhile, the Xinglong king, surveying the destroyed robots, wondered aloud, "Where have they all gone?" In the escape ship, Li Ke and Princess Wei Wei sped away from the chaos. Princess Wei Wei, looking out the window, called out for Wang Xiaofeng, her voice filled with regret. From a distance, the officer observed the outpost, satisfied. Everything went according to plan, he thought. Back inside the outpost, Wang Xiaofeng, panicking, tried to crawl away from the monstrous Balong. As the creature opened its enormous mouth, a blinding light engulfed the space. The escape pod, carrying Li Ke and Princess Wei Wei, emerged from a space portal, leaving the destruction behind. Wang Xiaofeng falls, submerged in liquid, disoriented and wondering if he is dead. Floating in a dark, vast space, he contemplates whether this is the light of paradise. But then, confusion strikes. He sees 2 lights. Why are there 2? He wonders. He's never heard of there being choices in paradise. Despite his doubts, he convinces himself that choosing the brighter light should be safe. Passing through it, Wang Xiaofeng finds himself in total darkness. Disoriented, he asks aloud if anyone is there. Feeling the top of his surroundings, he notices it's soft. He figures he can open it, and after a moment of effort, he finds light. Celebrating his small victory, he soon realizes that he's in a strange place, with a honeycomb-patterned ceiling overhead. Where am I? He wonders. It's then that he notices his new body, an insect-like form. Staring at his 6 legs and 2 pairs of hands, Wang Xiaofeng is dumbfounded. Why do I have antennae and wings? Am I a bee? His realization leaves him even more bewildered. Now, with the body of a humanoid bee, Wang Xiaofeng wanders through a lush field, marveling at the novelty of his form. He wonders if he should go search for nectar, jokingly buzzing and calling himself a hard-working little bee. He eventually finds himself on a cliff, gazing at floating islands and a brilliant blue sky. "Wow," he exclaims, mesmerized by the stunning landscape. Touching the soil with his front legs, Wang Xiaofeng remarks on how fertile and pure the land is, untouched by pollution. His thoughts drift back to Earth, his home planet, a place blanketed in a deep purple haze, with radioactive seas and terrifying mutant creatures. Earth's atmosphere is so toxic that the average life expectancy is a mere 40 years. He wonders wistfully what Earth might be like if it were as pristine as this place. Meanwhile, 3 brightly colored bees observe Wang Xiaofeng from a distance. One of them remarks that he looks like a newly emerged drone bee. As they approach, Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks what they intend to do. One bee confirms he really is a drone bee. The humanoid bees seem fascinated by him. One of them comments, "It's the first time I've seen such a small drone." Another suggests that he must be the first drone born to the queen. A third bee excitedly exclaims, "He's so cute!" Wang Xiaofeng, flustered by their attention, asks, "Are you talking about me?" The bees curiously approach him. One asks his name, while another, intrigued, requests permission to touch him. Awkwardly, Wang Xiaofeng introduces himself. "I'm Wang Xiaofeng." He smiles, thinking to himself how popular he has become. Cheeks flushed, he allows them to touch him, saying, "It's okay if it's just a touch." However, the situation quickly escalates. One bee squeezes his cheek, marveling at how soft his skin is. Before he knows it, a whole group of humanoid bees piles on top of him, causing Wang Xiaofeng to cry out for help. A voice interrupts the chaos. Another bee approaches and sternly asks what they are doing, reminding them that they all have work to do. Panicked, one of the bees warns, "That's the Queen's Guard!" The group of bees immediately scrambles off Wang Xiaofeng, apologizing as they rush back to their duties. Wang Xiaofeng, lying on the ground, tries to process what just happened. The Queen's Guard, a powerful-looking bee, observes the situation and comments, "That was quite the commotion." Her information card appears. Queen Bee Guard, Bee Li, weight 9,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng, relieved, exclaims, "I thought I was going to die." Bee Li looks at him carefully. "Are you the newly emerged drone bee?" she asks. Then, without waiting for a response, she takes flight, ordering Wang Xiaofeng to follow her to meet the queen. Surprised, Wang Xiaofeng watches Bee Li fly away. He glances at his own wings and nervously admits, "I haven't tried flying yet." With some difficulty, he begins flapping his wings and launches himself into the air, clumsily wobbling. But his joy is short-lived as he crashes into a tree branch. Nearby, the other bees laugh at his recklessness. One comments, "Flying so recklessly for the first time? No wonder he crashed." Another laughs and says, "Everyone has a first time. He'll get the hang of it." After some time, they arrive at a massive honeycomb-shaped structure atop a giant tree. "Is this where the queen lives?" Wang Xiaofeng asks, eyeing the structure with suspicion. Something feels off to him. At the entrance, a group of humanoid bees armed with spears stands guard. One of them addresses Bee Li, calling her captain, and asks if she shouldn't be resting today. Bee Li, with Wang Xiaofeng in tow, explains that the new drone bee has emerged and that she's taking him to see the queen. Wang Xiaofeng shyly greets the guards as they are allowed to pass. Walking through the corridors of the structure, Wang Xiaofeng feels uncomfortable as many humanoid bees stare at him. Surrounded by worker bees, he wonders aloud why they are all female and asks where the other drones are. One bee responds, "You didn't know?" Another explains, There are over 3,000 bees in this hive, but you're the only drone. Wang Xiaofeng, shocked, thinks, over 3,000 female worker bees. And I'm the only male? His face turns red as indecent thoughts flash through his mind. But he quickly dismisses them, thinking, with so many bees, my body wouldn't be able to handle it. As Wang Xiaofeng processes the information, it becomes clear where this situation is headed. This could be the biggest harem I've ever seen, he thinks to himself. The red-haired worker bee, Bee-Man, with a sly smile, strokes Wang Xiaofeng's head and asks why he looks so happy. The purple-haired bee, Bee-Mang, teasingly asks if he's thinking of courting the sisters. Both bees give him sly smiles, amused by his innocence. One of them laughs. He's got some ambition. Our poor protagonist asks, with wide-eyed innocence, is that not allowed? Bee-Man chuckles and explains, although we worker bees are female, only the queen has reproductive capacity. Bee-Mang adds, and due to bloodline reasons, you can only reproduce with queens from other hives, and only once a year. Bee Li steps in, announcing that they've reached the queen's chamber and orders everyone to be quiet. She kneels before the entrance and formally greets the queen with, Your Majesty. The queen, Bi Huang, asks what's happening. Bi Li bows and explains that the queen's drone bee has recently emerged, and she has brought him to meet her. Bi Huang turns her gaze toward Wang Xiaofeng, thanking Bi Li for her work. Our hero, enchanted by the queen's appearance, thinks she's incredibly beautiful. He wonders if she is his mother in this world, and is startled by her imposing size. Is something wrong? Bi Huang asks, noticing Wang Xiaofeng's hesitation. Overwhelmed, he blurts out, You're beautiful! Bi Li scolds him, reminding him to address the queen properly as Queen Bee. She demands to know if the larvae didn't teach him the rules and orders him to kneel. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks, What rules? He doesn't understand the situation. Bi Huang, with an amused smile, reassures Bi Li, saying, It's all right. No one else is here. She laughs gently, calling Wang Xiaofeng a sweet little boy, and beckons him closer. She invites him to sit beside her, saying, Come sit here with Mommy. Awkwardly, Wang Xiaofeng sits by the queen and asks, Why can't I call you Mommy if you gave birth to me? Bi Huang explains that it's a long-standing tradition of the bee tribe, one that even she cannot change. After all, she says, we are the rulers of this celestial island and must uphold our dignity. The queen reminisces, recalling that she was once one of thousands of worker bees, but was chosen by the former queen to inherit royal power. She became the new queen, and now the entire hive shares her bloodline. She advises Wang Xiaofeng to get along with his sisters in the hive. Bi Huang then orders Bi Li, Bee-Mang, and Bee-Man to take care of Wang Xiaofeng for now. The three bees bow to the queen and confirm the order. Bi Li assures her, We will train him to be an excellent drone. The queen praises Bi Li as the most capable worker bee, the only one with 2-star strength, and suggests that Wang Xiaofeng learn from her. Wang Xiaofeng agrees, referring to the queen as Mother Queen. Later, in the residential area of the Celestial Island, humanoid insects of various tribes live in harmony. A giant dragonfly transports a wooden crate across the area. Bi Li points to the residential section of the hive and explains that all tribes under the administration of the bee tribe live here. She adds that, thanks to the bee tribe's protection, the Celestial Island is the safest place on the planet. She warns Wang Xiaofeng that he is still at level 0 and must not leave the hive until he reaches 1-star strength. The wilderness outside is dangerous, she says. Wild tribes follow the law of the jungle. Wang Xiaofeng, apprehensive, promises to remember. Bi Li points to a small honeycomb-shaped house. This will be your room, she tells him. Food and water will be delivered regularly. Bi Li then orders Bee-Mang and Bee-Man to deliver a special item to Wang Xiaofeng. The two bees approach him, carrying a cage with a small, furry sleeping creature inside. Curious, Wang Xiaofeng asks, Is this a pet? Bee-Mang shakes her head. No, it's food. It's very nutritious and quite precious. Wang Xiaofeng, bewildered, asks, Why do you eat insects if you are also insects? The bees exchange looks of disappointment. Bi Li sighs. It seems the guys in the breeding department are getting more and more clueless. We are wasps. Wasps? Wang Xiaofeng exclaims in shock. The information card reveals the creature's stats. Disaster level, native monster, wasp beast, weight 3,000 tons. No wonder the hive feels so strange, Wang Xiaofeng mutters. After saying their goodbyes, Bi Li, Bi Meng Meng, and Bi Man Man leave. Wang Xiaofeng enters his new home and is startled by the size of the bed. He surveys the room and comments on how primitive the accommodation feels, almost like Earth's medieval period, with no advanced technology. Lying down, he reflects on his new life, musing, "Reincarnating as a wasp feels like a dream." Exhausted, he resigns himself to the situation and decides to make the best of it. But suddenly, Wang Xiaofeng, now in his human form, opens his eyes in confusion. Is this that same space? He wonders as he plummets toward a bright light, screaming. He lands in a place called Monster Cemetery, surrounded by a mountain of giant bones. Disoriented from the fall, Wang Xiaofeng looks around and wonders, where am I? Did I fail to reincarnate after all? As he takes in his surroundings, he realizes he is inside the mouth of a gigantic monster. Panicking, he wonders why this is happening again, only to be ejected from the monster's mouth moments later. Sitting on the ground, Wang Xiaofeng assesses his injuries. His left arm has been ripped off, but fortunately, his spacesuit's emergency systems have stopped the bleeding. He still needs to disinfect the wound, though. Glancing at his leg, he notices another open wound. Crawling toward a small campfire, he mutters, "Mr. Fire, help me." With difficulty, he picks up a container of water and heads toward the fire, celebrating his small victory as he feeds the flames with more wood. He boils some bandages for disinfection, knowing that in this environment, it's his only way to stop the bleeding. Bracing himself for pain, Wang Xiaofeng presses a hot stick against his wound, screaming in agony before passing out. When he awakens, he observes the valley, filled with countless monster corpses. This entire valley is a graveyard, he thinks, and they all died in the last explosion. He wonders how the giant monster he encountered earlier survived. But as he turns, the valley darkens, and a massive shadow looms over him. A gigantic dragon-like creature rises above him. The information card appears. Disaster level. Cosmic monster. Zuyue dragon. Weight 180,000 tons. Paralyzed with fear, Wang Xiaofeng stammers, "Monster!" He gazes up at the enormous beast, unable to comprehend its sheer size. Then, a smaller dragon approaches the Zuyue dragon and asks, "What's wrong with him?" The information card described the creature as disaster level, cosmic monster, flash dragon, weight 87,000 tons. The Zuyue dragon, irritated, commented, "I think something just went under my feet." The flash dragon, unconcerned, replied, "Forget about it. It's probably just a ghoul." He reminded the Zuyue dragon, "The Dragon King is seriously injured and needs a lot of blood. We need to find fresh bodies and bring them back quickly." "Don't pressure me, I already know," the Zuyue dragon snapped. Wang Xiaofeng, hiding behind a rock, trembled in fear, trying to make sense of their conversation. As time passed, he observed the two dragons carrying several smaller monsters on their backs. Are they transporting the bodies? Wang Xiaofeng wondered, trying to stay calm. He thought to himself, maybe this is my chance to escape. The flash dragon, sensing the urgency, said, "It's almost time. We need to go." He took off, carrying a small monster in his claws, and soon the skies were filled with an overwhelming number of dragons, transporting food at high speed. Wang Xiaofeng, hidden in the mouth of the Zuyue dragon, sighed in relief. "I finally managed to escape that cursed place," he muttered. But as he looked out over the valley, his relief turned to horror. The place teemed with monsters, and he quickly realized that he was in the middle of a monster nest. The dragons finally reached their destination, a colossal volcano. The Zuyue dragon landed, dumping the smaller monsters and skeletons onto the ground. Wang Xiaofeng screamed as he tumbled out along with them. One dragon asked another, "Has old Shi gathered all the ingredients for the Dragon King's meal?" A turtle-like dragon approached, squinting as he examined the ingredients. "My vision's not what it used to be," he grumbled. "I've been waiting for fresh ingredients for ages." Wang Xiaofeng, hiding among the other creatures, panicked as he tried to figure out what to do. But then, the turtle dragon excitedly spotted him, or so Wang Xiaofeng thought. The turtle dragon grinned, delighted with his find. "This fresh ingredient is perfect," he said, heading toward the cauldron. Wang Xiaofeng nearly had a heart attack, but to his surprise, the turtle dragon wasn't aiming for him. It was after the dinosaur he was hiding behind. Wang Xiaofeng let out a sigh of relief as the turtle dragon took the dinosaur instead. This old guy must have terrible eyesight, Wang Xiaofeng thought as he took the opportunity to run. The turtle dragon, now preparing the ingredients for the Dragon King's meal, said, "With these ingredients, the meal should be ready after boiling for a few more minutes." Wang Xiaofeng hid behind the leg of another creature, feeling safer for the moment. But his relief was short-lived. The smaller monsters nearby spotted him. One pointed in surprise. "A human!" it exclaimed. The others stared at Wang Xiaofeng, confused and curious. "What's a human doing here?" one asked. Another commented, "He looks delicious." A blue-horned monster holding a cup was startled. "Why is there a human here?" it demanded. The creatures quickly grew hostile. "Catch him!" one of the monsters ordered. "Don't let him escape!" Panic set in as Wang Xiaofeng ran for his life. When will this nightmare end? He thought. Just as a dinosaur was about to crush him, he remembered his spacesuit's safety airbag. The airbag inflated, cushioning the impact of the dinosaur's stomp and flinging Wang Xiaofeng into the air. He flew through the air, landing headfirst into the turtle dragon's cauldron. The turtle dragon, unaware of Wang Xiaofeng's presence, carried the cauldron toward a dark cave. One of the monsters watching said, "Isn't that pot for the Dragon King's long quan soup?" Another silly beast confirmed, "Yes, it is." The blue monster tried to intervene, calling out to the turtle dragon to stop. But before they could do anything, a massive dragon stepped in front of them, radiating fury. "You dare to rebel in the Dragon King's palace?" it bellowed. The information card appeared. Disaster level, level 7, Cosmic Monster, BIE Dragon. Weight, 1.3 million tons. The smaller monsters cowered in fear, quickly denying any intentions of rebellion. They pointed to the turtle dragon, accusing him of putting a human in the pot. The BEIE dragon roared in anger, scoffing at the idea of a mere human being present. It crushed one of the monsters under its paw and warned the others not to speak of it again. One of the creatures glanced at the flattened fire dragon on the ground and asked if it was dead. The BEIE dragon chased away the smaller monsters, ordering them to leave immediately. Afterward, it turned toward the cave and addressed the Dragon King, who was lying on space debris, severely injured. "We return to the battle that left the Dragon King massacred," the BEIE dragon said. The Dragon King, barely able to move, explained how he had allowed himself to be hit by an explosion. "If it weren't for that carelessness, I wouldn't have had the chance to seize this unique opportunity," the Dragon King reminisced. 300 years have passed, and during that time I've made no progress in my power. But the opportunity for a breakthrough is right in front of me. He glanced at the unconscious Princess Wei Wei, trapped inside her escape pod. "All I need to do is absorb her star power." The Dragon King warned the BEIE dragon, "While I recover, no one must approach. In this weakened state, my power could easily be stolen." The BEIE dragon vowed to protect the Dragon King with his life. Meanwhile, the turtle dragon poured the contents of the cauldron, including Wang Xiaofeng, into a gigantic organic container resembling a womb. The Dragon King's body, split in half, floated inside the container. Wang Xiaofeng, submerged in the reddish liquid, cried out for help as he struggled to make sense of the situation. The turtle dragon, pleased with its work, celebrated. "My task is complete. At last, these old bones can rest." Exhausted, Wang Xiaofeng muttered to himself, "I wish everything would just be destroyed, my miserable life included." It was clear that Wang Xiaofeng had reached his limit. After everything he had been through in just 24 hours, his exhaustion was beyond belief. Out of nowhere, Wang Xiaofeng's consciousness shifted. He slowly opened his eyes, finding himself back in his bee body. Confused, he got out of bed and immediately felt a sharp pain. He touched his face and realized that part of his mandible was broken. Reflecting on his situation, Wang Xiaofeng wondered, "If I've been reincarnated, why are my two bodies connected?" He concluded that whenever one body was awake, the other must be asleep. Wang Xiaofeng rejoices at the thought, speculating that he might have become some kind of supreme being with two bodies. "Wow," he thinks, "I didn't see that coming." But soon after, his face falls as he laments the condition of his human body, covered in wounds and possibly dead by now. Then, relieved, Wang Xiaofeng celebrates the fact that he's just an earthling, and for the moment, everything seems fine. He smiles to himself, rejoicing in the thought that he now holds a noble position surrounded by beauties, and declares that this is where he truly belongs. But just as he begins to settle in, his stomach growls loudly. He remembers he hasn't eaten since entering his new wasp body. He glances over at the gift the bees gave him, the insect in the cage, and wonders if the wasp inside is really edible. Oh no. Look at that psychopathic grin on his face, you might think. How terrifying. Wang Xiaofeng grabs the food in his hand, but just as he's about to dig in, the little moth inside the cage begs him not to eat her. Surprised that the moth can talk, Wang Xiaofeng decides to follow local customs and try a small bite. He sinks his teeth into the creature, immediately making a face. Does it taste like raw shrimp? He wonders, as the little moth cries out, "I'm dying!" But don't worry, our hero isn't that cruel. Wang Xiaofeng spits it out, complaining about the horrible taste. The moth, in shock, asks what happened. She starts crying, lamenting her fate. How cruel life is, that she's not only going to die, but also be called disgusting before she even gets eaten. Annoyed by the moth's constant whining, Wang Xiaofeng sighs. "Enough already. It's too noisy. I won't eat you, okay?" He holds her and ushers her out the door. "Go cry somewhere else," he says, shutting the door behind her. Relieved, the moth celebrates her freedom. But, as is often the case, a poor man's joy is short-lived. 2 bees fly overhead and spot her. One of them points and says, "Look, there's a plump moth in front of that house." The moth, hearing this, panics. She knocks frantically on Wang Xiaofeng's door, calling him Big Brother and begging him to let her back in. Wang Xiaofeng opens the door and asks, "Why are you back?" Grabbing his leg, the moth pleads, "I'm a good person. Please take me in." Wang Xiaofeng, reluctant, explains that he's hungry and needs to eat first. But in the end, he lets her back inside, curious why she ran so far. The moth nervously suggests, "Lord Wasp, if you don't like to eat meat, why not try a pollen cake?" Wang Xiaofeng is intrigued and asks if she has any. The moth nods, explaining that her little sister makes excellent pollen cakes. Now, outside the residential area, Wang Xiaofeng, still hungry, asks if they can't just fly to her house. The moth warns against it, saying that flying could draw the attention of the queen's guards. She then points to a strange flower and says it's called the Twilight Flower. Excitedly, she offers a petal to Wang Xiaofeng, saying that while it's a long walk to her house, the flower can help curb his hunger. Wang Xiaofeng eats the petal and remarks that it's sweet. Not bad at all. Feeling better, he thanks the moth, and they continue on their way. As they approach a hole in a tree, the moth explains, "This is where my sister can cook for you, Lord Wasp." Wang Xiaofeng asks if she gets along with her sister. The moth smiles and replies, "She's my most precious treasure." But as they arrive, the scene turns grim. A large, demonic-looking wasp is beating up a smaller insect who begs for her little brother to be returned. The wasp punches the poor thing, sending her flying. The info card reveals disaster level, mud monster, weight 7,800 tons. The evil wasp coldly declares, "It's too late. By now your little brother is probably already in some lord's belly." Wang Xiaofeng is shocked by the wasp's cruelty. The moth rushes to her sister, worried. "Are you hurt?" she asks. The little sister introduces herself as Xiao Yue, and the moth reassures her, "Don't worry, you're safe now." She demands the evil wasp leave her house. The giant wasp, intrigued, approaches. "Didn't I sell you off? How did you survive and get back here?" she asks, salivating at the sight of her. "As food, you should know your place. Running away from being eaten is a crime punishable by death." The situation escalates. Wang Xiaofeng orders the giant wasp to stop, explaining that he brought the little moth here himself. "If you have a problem, deal with me," he says sternly. The giant wasp is taken aback and wonders, are they from the wasp tribe? The moth, overjoyed, thanks Wang Xiaofeng and calls him Lord Wasp. Our hero, trying to stay humble, tells her, "Just call me Xiaofeng." The giant wasp, now kneeling before him, apologizes profusely, saying she didn't know they were friends of his. Wang Xiaofeng, confused by the sudden shift in behavior, asks why the wasp knelt. The moth explains, "The wasp tribe is one of the rulers of the celestial island. The queen holds the power of a king, and no insect dares to offend anyone from the wasp tribe. Wang Xiaofeng declares that the little moth is his friend and orders the giant wasp to stop intimidating her. The wasp agrees, retreating, but wonders how a male wasp from the wasp tribe ended up here, befriending food like the moth. Yue, the moth's sister, thanks Wang Xiaofeng for his help. He shrugs it off, saying it was no big deal, but then the giant wasp pauses. Suspicious, she questions whether Wang Xiaofeng is accompanied by worker bees or if he escaped alone. A wicked grin spreads across her face as she licks her lips. "This is an unexpected surprise," she says. Back in the residential area, the bees search for Wang Xiaofeng. "His sisters want to take him to the city," they say, confused as they find his bed empty. Bee Man and Bee Mang wonder where he could have gone, while Bee Li, irritated, curses him for escaping again. Observing the footprints, she scolds, "That idiot ignored us and fled the city." Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng is enjoying a meal. He praises the pollen cakes, saying, "Each one has its own unique fragrance. The food here is really good." Yue, touched by his praise, blushes. But when Wang Xiaofeng jokingly comments that the meal could use some meat, the moths freeze in horror. Yue panics, offering to cut her own flesh to repay Wang Xiaofeng's kindness. Startled, Wang Xiaofeng leaps up and grabs the spear from her hands, apologizing for the misunderstanding. He reassures her, "You're my friend. I don't want you to get hurt because of me." The little moth, who had never experienced kindness before, looks up at him, teary-eyed. "Friends?" she asks. Wang Xiaofeng grins and replies, "Yes, we're friends." The giant wasp barges into the room, scoffing at their sentimentality. Irritated, Wang Xiaofeng demands, "What are you doing here?" The giant wasp explains that she's here to invite Lord Wasp to visit the mud wasp tribe's territory. Wang Xiaofeng rudely declines, saying, "I don't need your invitation." The giant wasp, angered, threatens him. "If you don't accept the invitation, don't blame me for using force." She then orders the horned beetle to fetch Wang Xiaofeng and bring him back. The horned beetle confirms the order. Disaster level, native monster, horned beetle beast, weight 13,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng reassures Yue and her brother, promising that he will take care of the situation. The horned beetle lunges at Wang Xiaofeng. With confidence, Wang Xiaofeng boasts that he is a master back on Earth, capable of defeating 10 people at once. As the horned beetle attacks, Wang Xiaofeng dodges, feeling triumphant. He delivers a powerful blow to the beetle's belly, followed by a kick. But maybe the blows weren't so strong after all. The horned beetle remains unfazed as our hero desperately tries to land even a scratch. Confused, Wang Xiaofeng asks the beetle, "Don't you feel pain?" In response, the horned beetle grabs Wang Xiaofeng by the face. Our poor hero panics and begs, "Let go! My head is going to be crushed!" Yue and her brother tremble in fear, helpless as they watch Wang Xiaofeng's situation worsen. The giant wasp coldly orders, "Take them away, horned beetle." The beetle complies, dragging Wang Xiaofeng along. Yue, in a panic, asks Wang Xiaofeng if he's okay. Seeing him unconscious, she pleads for him to be unharmed. The giant wasp scoffs, mocking Wang Xiaofeng for thinking he could defeat a one-star horned beetle with such low power. When Wang Xiaofeng regains consciousness, still in pain, he groans, "I almost died." He then asks the little moth where they're being taken. Yue explains that they're inside a box being carried to the surface. Alarmed, Wang Xiaofeng shouts, "The surface?" Yue nods and warns, "The surface is inhabited by dragon beasts, a very dangerous place." Wang Xiaofeng, recalling his previous encounters with dragons, nervously asks, "What are dragon beasts? Are they like dinosaurs?" The moth explains that her grandfather once spoke of the dragon beasts, saying they came from beyond the sky. Long ago, the insects lived on the surface, but after the dragon beasts invaded, a great war broke out. The insects were completely defeated. Wang Xiaofeng listens intently as she continues, describing how the defeated insects fled to the celestial island, underground caves, and remote islands to survive. If the dragon beasts came from beyond the sky, could it be the Star Dragon clan? Wang Xiaofeng wonders, recalling their invincible strength. Comparing them to insects, he concludes that the insects would stand no chance against dragons in a war. He then asks why the mud wasps still live on the surface if it's so dangerous. Yue explains that the mud wasp's nest is in underground caves, barren places abandoned by the dragon beasts. Since there aren't many strong insects there, the mud wasps have taken control, turning other insects into their slaves. The giant wasp interrupts, announcing their arrival. She invites Wang Xiaofeng to meet her sisters, boasting that they will love him. Our hero, struggling with the tight ropes binding him, realizes he has no chance of escaping. As they descend, Wang Xiaofeng sees other creatures working in chains and deduces that they are slaves of the mud wasps. The giant wasp warns him, "If you don't behave, you'll end up just like them." Wang Xiaofeng observes their miserable state, noting that the slaves are all covered in wounds. Soon, the giant wasp calls her sisters to show off her catch, a male wasp from the wasp tribe. Her sisters are overjoyed. One of them asks, "Are you sure you were supposed to bring him here?" The giant wasp confidently replies, "He escaped from the celestial island city, and I captured the two moths who knew about it too. There's no problem." Wang Xiaofeng, confused, wonders why he always seems to end up surrounded by females wherever he goes. One of the wasps begins caressing his cheeks, commenting on his soft, delicate skin. "Although he's a bit young," she says, "after some time, he'll definitely grow into a handsome young man. If we marry him, our tribe might even produce a queen with the power of a king." Irritated by the comment, Wang Xiaofeng retorts, "Who would marry you? Stop dreaming." The giant wasp, enraged, scolds him. "We have plenty of time to teach you a lesson. It won't be long before you beg us." She drags Wang Xiaofeng through the dark forest, telling him to hurry up. Our hero, trying to make sense of his situation, meanwhile, two insects, one a massive dung beetle and the other a powerful praying mantis, watch from the shadows. The dung beetle, disaster level, native monster, dung beetle beast. Weight, 35,000 tons, grumbles. "Those mud wasps are getting too bold, kidnapping a male wasp from the wasp tribe." The praying mantis, disaster level, native monster, praying mantis beast. Weight, 8,600 tons, agrees, remarking, "They're courting death." The dung beetle suggests that this might be a golden opportunity to lure the wasp tribe into action. With the wasp tribe's involvement, the end of the mud wasps will be near, but the praying mantis is cautious, warning, "Inviting the wasp tribe could be like inviting wolves into our house. If we drive out the mud wasps, we might end up as slaves to the wasps ourselves." The dung beetle acknowledges her concern, but insists, "With our strength alone, we can't shake the mud wasp's dominance. We'll judge the wasp tribe's trustworthiness after an investigation." Back to Wang Xiaofeng, the giant wasp throws him onto the ground and declares, "This is the bottom layer of the underground mine. No one can save you here." She orders him to stay put and think things over. "Once you've learned your place, your sister will come to get you." Wang Xiaofeng, frustrated, curses the giant wasp, calling her an old hag and stating that he would never fall for someone like her. "Look, the way my testosterone is surging these days, I wouldn't turn anything down," he muses to himself. "But what can you do? Meat always seems to fall on a vegan's plate." The giant wasp, enraged, retorts, "Brat." She then challenges Wang Xiaofeng. "Let's see how long you can keep up that act." Our little bee, defiant, declares, "I'd rather die than surrender." Suddenly, Yue and the little moth rush toward them, screaming for Wang Xiaofeng. He asks if they are locked up too. Nearby critters notice their presence, murmuring in surprise. One creature remarks, "Is that a wasp?" The Heracross nods, confirming, "It really is a wasp. It's rare to see one here." Wang Xiaofeng turns to the little moth and asks, "Who are these creatures?" The moth explains, "They're all residents of the underground mine." She waves her arms with a smile, introducing them as her friends. A happy, plump caterpillar introduces herself as Mao Mao, while a shy Heracross, awkwardly scratching his head, says, "I'm Stinkbug." Wang Xiaofeng laughs at their unusual names, amused by the diversity of the creatures. The moth assures him, "Everyone here is friendly," and Yue thanks them for taking care of her and the others. Mao Mao, ever cheerful, comments, "I've heard of the mud wasps. They've got a lot of nerve kidnapping a wasp." Stinkbug agrees, predicting, "Once the wasps arrive, the mud wasps are finished." Wang Xiaofeng, silently reflecting, realizes that he escaped the celestial island secretly. The other wasps have no idea that he's been captured, so no rescue is coming, he concludes, and apologizes to the creatures. I'm afraid I can't be much help. Mao Mao gently reassures him. Don't worry. We've all been trapped here for so long, we're just venting. Don't take what we say too seriously. Just then, the leader of the insect prisoners, the dung beetle, arrives. He confidently declares that it may not be impossible to lure the Wasp clan's army here. The surrounding creatures gasp in surprise at his presence. The dung beetle, huge and intimidating, states, "If we help Lord Wasp escape, all we need to do is get him safely back to the Celestial Island." Wang Xiaofeng, awestruck by the size of the dung beetle, remarks, "He's even bigger than Queen Bee Mother." The little cockroach nearby begs Wang Xiaofeng, "Lord Wasp, please overthrow the Mud Wasp clan's rule and help us escape this suffering." Wang Xiaofeng, panicking, responds, "I'm too weak. I can't do that." The dung beetle reassures him, "We'll protect you with our lives. You just need to bring reinforcements, and the mud wasps will fall." But our hero shakes his head. "Even if I escape, the Mud Wasp clan won't let you all go. Are you sure you can really handle them?" Yue calls out to Xiaofeng, urging him to reconsider. Moved by the plight of the creatures, Wang Xiaofeng reflects on his own past. "They're so humble, so hopeless," he thinks. "Just like I once was, wishing someone would help me." With renewed resolve, Wang Xiaofeng turns to the dung beetle. "What do I need to do?" At the exit of the underground mine, two wasps chat about the rumored arrival of a male wasp. One of them quips, "The sisters will be blessed with the arrival of a male from outside." Meanwhile, the praying mantis sneaks through the mine, skillfully avoiding detection. The dung beetle explains to Wang Xiaofeng that this is the flower mantis, the only insect with strength comparable to his. He proposes a plan. He will distract the guards while the flower mantis helps Wang Xiaofeng escape. Our protagonist agrees, trusting the dung beetle's strategy. He introduces himself to the flower mantis and asks, "Please take care of me." The flower mantis turns to Wang Xiaofeng and gravely states, "The future of the underground mine insects depends on you." The dung beetle bids farewell, reminding them to be cautious. Some wasps, alerted to the situation in the mine, signal the other insects to follow them. The flower mantis explains, "There are 30 mud wasp guards at the exit. The dung beetle managed to distract 15 of them, and I'll handle the rest." She warns Wang Xiaofeng, "The mud wasps react quickly. If they sense something's wrong, they'll surround us. Stay close." Wang Xiaofeng nods in agreement. Then, in a breathtaking display of agility, the flower mantis leaps into action, rocketing upward. Wang Xiaofeng watches in awe. Two mud wasp guards notice her arrival, baffled by her presence. "What's that insect doing here?" one demands. "Get down immediately!" But there's no time for negotiation. The flower mantis strikes with incredible speed, her graceful movements overwhelming the guards. One mud wasp, struggling to keep up, cries out, "What's going on?" The remaining guards, sensing something wrong, shout to the others, "Someone's trying to escape!" But before they can act, the flower mantis unleashes a flurry of devastating blows, cutting down each guard with precision. The fallen wasps whisper in disbelief, "She's too fast!" And while the few remaining guards scramble to recover, the flower mantis continues her assault, effortlessly defeating them with swift, calculated strikes, like a skilled master at work. She even has time to humiliate them, walking slowly through the chaos she has created, cool and composed. How did this praying mantis even get caught in this place? Wang Xiaofeng wonders, still in awe of her power. The flower mantis looks back and calls to Wang Xiaofeng, "Come on, let's go." Wang Xiaofeng climbs with difficulty, watching the flower mantis fight the mud wasps. Amazed by her strength, he asks, "Why aren't you moving?" She glances around, counting the defeated guards, and mutters, "I'm missing one." One of the remaining wasps, feeling a sudden stomachache, stumbles upon her fellow guards lying on the ground. She wonders what happened. Sometimes it's good to take care of business while chaos unfolds around you, huh? Panicking, the wasp rushes to the alarm bell and rings it, screaming that it's an enemy attack. The flower mantis and Wang Xiaofeng watch as the alarm blares throughout the mine. The mantis sighs, "What a shame." Meanwhile, a mud wasp enters the mine, asking what's happening and why there's suddenly a fire. The Heracross, frantically splashing water, shouts, "Put out the fire! Put out the fire!" Mao Mao, the happy caterpillar, explains that Stinkbug accidentally set the shed on fire while cooking. Stinkbug, clearly embarrassed, apologizes profusely. The mud wasp curses him and threatens, "If it happens again, I'll kill you." She orders everyone to leave, but Mau Mau, desperate, pleads with Stinkbug to think of a way to stall the guards a little longer. Heracross throws himself to the ground, grabbing the mud wasp's leg. He tells her that all the grain meant for the year's taxes burned in the fire and begs her to help them. The mud wasp, disgusted by his smell, threatens him again, warning that if he can't pay the taxes, he'll be food for the mud wasp larvae. But before the situation can escalate further, the sound of the alarm bell causes the mud wasps to freeze. One of them, looking alarmed, shouts that there's a situation at the underground exit and orders everyone to return. Mau Mau tries to call them back, but Heracross, heartbroken, asks how they can be so cruel. Mau Mau apologizes to the dung beetle, saying they couldn't stop the mud wasps from leaving. The dung beetle reassures her, "Don't worry, the bell is the ultimate alert signal. They wouldn't dare stay here." Stinkbug, confused, asks, "What does the ultimate alert signal mean?" The dung beetle sighs and says grimly, "If nothing unexpected happens, it means Lord Wasp and the flower mantis have already been discovered." Stinkbug, disheartened, laments, "I can't believe it happened." The dung beetle apologizes to the others, saying the secret escape plan failed. "Now, it looks like the flower mantis and I will have to face the mud wasps head on." Mau Mau, worried, reminds him that there are only 2 of them, while the mud wasps have at least 100 members, along with their insect allies. The dung beetle, determined, stands tall and says, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not just for Lord Wasp, who has earned my trust, but for our future generations, so they'll never be enslaved." Our hero, inspired, declares, "Even if it costs me my life, I will not hesitate." What a man! What a hero! The moth interrupts, calling for the dung beetle to wait. He asks, "What is it?" The little moth, full of conviction, pleads to join them. "Wang Xiaofeng is my friend too. I want to help." The dung beetle hesitates, thanking her for her loyalty, but cautioning her that without star power, she wouldn't be of much help. Mau Mau tries to stop the moth, explaining that the dung beetle and the flower mantis are stellar insect warriors, capable of controlling star power. Stinkbug agrees, adding, "As much as it frustrates us, we'd only cause trouble for them if we went." The little moth, on the verge of tears, admits, "I know I'm weak, a mere insect at the bottom of the food chain. I was even sent to the wasp clan as food because I couldn't pay taxes." Her voice cracks as she continues, "But Wang Xiaofeng never looked down on me because of my position. Despite being a noble wasp, he was willing to be friends with someone like me, someone who was destined to be food, and now he's risking his life to help us." She turns to the dung beetle, her eyes full of determination. "Should I just stand by and watch my friend die for me because I'm weak?" Mau Mau, deeply moved, praises the moth for her words. Heracross, emboldened, declares, "Wang Xiaofeng is risking his life for us. We can't just sit here and do nothing." Mau Mau and Stinkbug agree, shouting, "We'll go too. We'll do whatever little we can." The rest of the insect slaves, inspired by the moth's courage, cheer up. One creature shouts, "The mud wasps aren't that scary. I'm going too." Another creature adds, "Let's show those despicable mud wasps what the lower class can do." The dung beetle, taken aback by the sudden surge of unity, turns to the little moth, addressing her warmly. "You, little moth, are a brave warrior." Touched, the moth takes his hand. What a beautiful scene. Absolute cinema. Meanwhile, a horde of mud wasps marches through the underground mine. One of the wasps orders the others to search for Wang Xiaofeng and the flower mantis. The flower mantis, hanging from the ceiling, cradles Wang Xiaofeng in her arms. And, well, let's just say, our hero is at peak testosterone. "Flower, sister flower," he mutters, dazed, as the flower mantis presses him to her chest, whispering for him to be quiet. Once they land on the ground, she warns, "Reinforcements are coming. We need to hurry." She asks if Wang Xiaofeng is okay. Still dizzy, he nods. "I'm fine." The flower mantis reassures him. "We're almost at the end of the passage. Once we get through, we'll be safe." They sprint toward the mine exit, but it's never that easy, is it? The giant wasp appears at the exit, blocking their way. "Where are you going in such a hurry, little wasp?" she sneers. "And you even brought along a stinky moth with star power." As if things couldn't get worse, an overwhelming number of wasps gather in front of them. The giant wasp continues, "From the moment the alarm rang, I knew that those filthy insects underground were up to something." She taunts the flower mantis. helping the little wasp escape, luring the wasp clan here to deal with us, using one enemy to defeat another. Quite clever. Was it that traitorous dung beetle who came up with the idea? The flower mantis, standing tall, defends the dung beetle. He's no traitor! The giant wasp, enraged, curses the flower mantis, telling her to shut up. The mantis, resolute, orders Wang Xiaofeng to step back. I'll handle them, she says. Wang Xiaofeng, concerned, tells her to be careful. As the flower mantis prepares for combat, facing a not-so-fair fight, our hero slips away behind her. The flower mantis unleashes a flurry of attacks, slicing through the air with her blades, stomping and kicking the surrounding wasps. Her strikes are fluid, precise, and deadly. But then the enemy's tank arrives, the massive horned beetle. It charges at her with a powerful dash, ignoring the blows she lands on its hard shell. Startled that her attacks have no effect, the flower mantis mutters, "What is this thing made of?" Before she can react, the horned beetle catches up and lands a crushing blow. She cries out in pain, her body jolting under the force of the strike. Gritting her teeth, the flower mantis forces herself back into a fighting stance, but it's clear she's losing strength. The horned beetle swings again, missing her by inches as she dodges. Frustrated, the beetle slams its fist into the ground, causing the earth to crack beneath them. The impact momentarily stuns her, causing her to jump back, exactly what the beetle was waiting for. In one swift motion, the horned beetle grabs her by the leg and slams her to the ground with devastating force. "Run, Xiaofeng!" she cries out, her voice weak and full of desperation as she is trampled under the beetle's relentless assault. Wang Xiaofeng, trembling with fear, watches in horror. "Sister Flower, are you okay?" he shouts, knowing full well that she isn't. He hesitates, but then, spinning his arms in a poor attempt to look brave, he challenges the horned beetle to a fight. "Come on, you overgrown bug! Let's fight to the death!" he yells, though his voice cracks with fear. The giant wasp, observing the scene with amusement, remarks, "So, this star insect created by that dung beetle has some skill after all. But too bad for her, she's up against a horned beetle about to break through to the second star." As she speaks, the giant wasp draws her enormous stinger, aiming it at the flower mantis. She steps closer, raising her stinger to the mantis's neck. "You've cost me several sisters just to capture you," she sneers. But now, it's over. The wasps gather around, ready to take the defeated flower mantis away. "Take her to the nursery," the giant wasp orders, her voice cold and calculating. "Let the larvae feast on fresh star-powered meat. They'll grow stronger thanks to her." The surrounding wasps nod, eager to obey. Meanwhile, the horned beetle turns toward Wang Xiaofeng, its massive shadow looming over him. "What about this one?" it growls. The giant wasp, not even bothering to glance at him, replies, "Cage him. Keep him under strict watch until mating is done. Then dispose of him. I don't want him causing any more trouble." Wang Xiaofeng, devastated, realizes the gravity of the situation. Even though I'm a noble species, he thinks, I'm still just a pawn in their game. Tears well up in his eyes as he sobs, "I'm not cut out to be a hero." Just then, one of the wasp guards rushes up, panic etched on her face. "Something's wrong!" she exclaims, her voice trembling. The giant wasp, visibly irritated, snaps, "What's got you so rattled?" The guard stammers, "The peasants. The ones from the underground mine. They've revolted. They've broken through the passage and are heading this way." The giant wasp's eyes narrow in anger. "That low-class trash? Who's leading them?" she demands. The guard hesitates before answering, "It's the dung beetle, the traitor." As if on cue, the dung beetle and his makeshift army of insects appear, charging through the entrance with a powerful attack. The ground trembles as the horde of insects flood into the space, ready for battle. Amid the chaos, the little moth flies ahead, shouting, "I'm here to help you, Wang Xiaofeng." Wang Xiaofeng, still in his moment of despair, looks up, surprised to see the insect uprising. The sight of the little moth leading the charge brings a flicker of hope back into his eyes. The battle between the mud wasps and the underground insects is about to begin, and for the first time, Wang Xiaofeng realizes he might not be as alone as he thought. The moth and the dung beetle order the other insects to attack. The giant wasp is surprised by this unexpected alliance, recalling that just yesterday these insects were nothing more than scattered and disorganized. She wonders what the dung beetle did to unite them. The giant cockroach is equally astonished by the dung beetle's boldness, especially in using just one wasp to rally these weak, starless creatures. He scoffs, remarking that no matter how determined they are, trash remains trash. The giant wasp sneers, declaring that resisting the mud wasp lord will be the greatest mistake of their lives. As the dung beetle and the others advance, she remains convinced it's the worst decision they could make. She orders her wasp sisters to attack, dismissing the insurgent insects as insignificant and unworthy of fear. Her sisters respond with a fierce war cry, and the battle begins in full force. Insects swarm the battlefield, clashing violently. This is the moment of chaos they had been waiting for. One of the wasps shouts encouragement, suggesting they capture the dung beetle alive, as it would be a notable victory. But they soon realize the beetle is no easy target. The frontline wasps marvel at his immense size. The dung beetle, unfazed, roars at them to move aside and delivers a powerful blow, scattering some insects with sheer force. He demands that the stag beetle release Wang Xiaofeng. The stag beetle, amused, mocks the dung beetle for finally showing up, referring to him as the former captain of the mud wasp guard. The dung beetle, uninterested in the past, retorts that the stag beetle's strength is still stuck at 1 star. You can't level up just by capturing children, he scoffs. The stag beetle, laughing, remarks that he's finally angered the dung beetle enough to provoke him into battle. Releasing their captured worker bee, he taunts the dung beetle, boasting that he will prove once again that he's the strongest in the underground mine. The dung beetle, concerned for Wang Xiaofeng, yells at him to flee. Terrified, Wang Xiaofeng thanks the dung beetle and runs for his life. Meanwhile, our hero, seizing the opportunity, urges his mantis sister to escape as well. But as he approaches, he realizes she is seriously injured. With a heavy heart, the flower mantis tells Wang Xiaofeng that this is the end for her. Shocked, Wang Xiaofeng protests, but she insists that she can't go on. "Move forward," she urges him, lamenting her inability to protect them as she had promised. Her body is paralyzed, leaving her helpless. She reflects bitterly on her past, recalling how she lost her parents at a young age and survived on scraps in the underground mine. She regrets putting them all at risk due to her carelessness and failed vow to protect them. Wang Xiaofeng swears to her that he will protect everyone in the underground mine. Just then, the giant wasp reappears, mocking the group. "The weak always cling to each other," she sneers, threatening Wang Xiaofeng and the others. She orders them to surrender, warning that resistance will only invite her wrath. But before she can act, the little moth and her sister charge at the giant wasp, yelling for her to leave Wang Xiaofeng alone. Though their strength is minuscule, they manage to latch onto the wasp, covering her eyes and disrupting her vision. Infuriated, the giant wasp curses at the moth, demanding how mere food dares to challenge her. The moth, trembling but determined, urges Wang Xiaofeng to flee. Moved by his friend's bravery, Wang Xiaofeng hesitates before taking flight. "Don't worry about us," the moth cries. "Just focus on escaping." The giant wasp grows more enraged, ordering the moth to get off her face. Meanwhile, the intense battle between the dung beetle and the stag beetle rages on. The dung beetle lands a crushing blow to the stag beetle's face, taunting him. "Is this all the strength behind your so-called competitive spirit?" The stag beetle, wounded but defiant, accuses the dung beetle of betraying his loyalty to the mud wasp lord, claiming that the lord worked tirelessly to help him evolve to 2 stars. He lunges at the dung beetle, but is effortlessly stopped with a single hand. The dung beetle taunts the stag beetle, asking, "What do you know about loyalty? You slaughtered your own kin just to turn yourself into a heartless killing machine. Does that show any loyalty?" The stag beetle scoffs, though there's a hint of bitterness in his voice. Their sacrifice was necessary, yet he can't hide his frustration. He laments how wide the gap in strength is between them, even with just a 1-star difference. But before he can catch his breath, our hero, the dung beetle, delivers a majestic volley, sending the stag beetle flying. "Still as stubborn as ever," he says, challenging the stag beetle to a fight, promising to teach him a lesson on behalf of his family. Meanwhile, the giant wasp notices Wang Xiaofeng's escape and becomes desperate. She orders the stag beetle to stop fighting and go after him. "If we don't catch him, we're doomed," she yells. The stag beetle, already faltering, feels his body falling apart and marvels at the power difference between a 2-star insect and himself. The giant wasp berates him. "Are you deaf? Go after Wang Xiaofeng," she orders. Struggling to stand, the stag beetle groans, but he obeys and takes off in pursuit. The dung beetle watches him flee and, growing irritated, yells, "Where do you think you're going?" Our hero vows to chase him down, but before he can act, the giant wasp attacks him from behind with her massive stinger, commanding him to stay put. Thus begins the battle of the highest star monsters. The dung beetle winces at the sting, grumbling that his body is beginning to go numb. The other wasps, watching, are stunned by his resistance to the poison, wondering how long he can hold out. They surround him, taunting that it's time to welcome the guest. Meanwhile, the stag beetle speeds toward Wang Xiaofeng. In a flash, he is upon our protagonist, hurling curses and ordering him to stop. Wang Xiaofeng is taken aback by how quickly the stag beetle caught up. "Stop now, or don't blame me for what happens next," the stag beetle threatens, reaching out to grab him, but Wang Xiaofeng quickly dodges, taunting him to try harder. Flying in a zigzag pattern, Wang Xiaofeng dodges the stag beetle's attacks, his determination growing as he flees. The flower mantis watches in despair, praying that Wang Xiaofeng can make it. Meanwhile, Yue calls out to Wang Xiaofeng to hold on, while the moth rallies the other insects to hold back the wasps. Mao, exhausted, cries out that she can't hold on much longer and begs the stink bug for help. The stink bug encourages her to hang in there a bit longer, assuring her that reinforcements will come soon. But Mao laments, fearing they might all die here. The stag beetle, growing angrier, curses Wang Xiaofeng. "You're hard to catch," he growls. Wang Xiaofeng, almost out of stamina, struggles to shake him off, and wonders why the stag beetle is so relentless. Yet, as he pushes himself to his limits, a surge of determination fills him. Everyone is at their breaking point, he thinks. They're still resisting the mud wasps. How can I stop here? Suddenly, his body begins to spark, and as all great battles require, we're treated to a flashback. Young Wang Xiaofeng dreams of becoming a hero, holding a small doll in his hand. He tells his father, "When I grow up, I want to be a hero like Eggman and destroy all the radiation monsters on Earth." His father smiles and encourages him. "If you study hard and get into a university on Starwang, you'll be able to pilot a mecha and fight monsters alongside Eggman." Wang Xiaofeng nods eagerly. Years later, he gets into the prestigious Starwang Academy of Mechanical Engineering. Overjoyed, he shows his parents his acceptance letter. "I did it! I'm going to Starwangshi!" he exclaims. His father beams with pride, saying, "That's my boy." His mother promises a feast to celebrate, but tragedy strikes just before his departure. Monsters invade their city, and the interstellar transport system is completely shut down. Chaos reigns in the streets as terrified citizens flee for their lives. A frantic news reporter broadcasts the devastation, urging residents to take shelter. Desperate to give Wang Xiaofeng a chance at a better life, his parents spend all their savings to secure him a place on a military starship bound for Starwang. But Wang Xiaofeng refuses to leave. "How can I go to Starwang when you've spent everything on me?" he asks. "How will you survive?" Life on Starwang was grueling, and his parents' love was his only motivation to keep going. "I've already shed enough tears over this," Wang Xiaofeng thought, trying to cheer himself up. "This isn't a time travel story after all. There will be a day when I reunite with my parents." With tears in his eyes, he swears to himself that he hasn't yet repaid his parents, wondering how he could possibly fall now. But just as he resolves to keep going, the stag beetle appears at lightning speed, preparing to land the strongest punch of his life. Wang Xiaofeng braces himself, thinking that he won't be able to walk after this one. The stag beetle's blows continue, sending him crashing down, and for a moment it seems like it's all over. However, Wang Xiaofeng staggers to his feet. The stag beetle, still pursuing him, taunts him, saying, "You can't resist anymore. Your defeat is inevitable. Don't end up like the commoners treated like trash." But as the stag beetle gloats, Wang Xiaofeng remembers the friends he made along the way, those he swore to protect. "They are just like me," he realizes. Filled with determination, he shouts, "I won't let that happen!" Suddenly, Wang Xiaofeng's body begins to glow, emanating a powerful energy. His fury ignites, and he declares, "I can't let that happen!" His entire body shines like the sun, casting a radiant light that stuns everyone around him. The stag beetle watches in disbelief, wondering if Wang Xiaofeng has leveled up. He panics, realizing he stands no chance against this new power. Before he can react, Wang Xiaofeng charges forward, screaming for the stag beetle to get out of his way. As Wang Xiaofeng barrels toward him, the stag beetle feels the overwhelming presence of the dragon aura from the Star Dragon clan. This is impossible, the stag beetle cries in horror, but it's too late. Wang Xiaofeng lands a devastating punch, the most powerful blow the stag beetle has ever experienced, sending him crashing to the ground. As the stag beetle falls unconscious, the battlefield falls into stunned silence. Creatures all around witness the blow, and one shouts, "Look at the sky! It's the stag beetle!" The flower mantis watches, hardly believing her eyes, wondering if Wang Xiaofeng truly defeated him. The moth and her sister cheer, exclaiming that Wang Xiaofeng is incredible and calling it a miracle. The mud wasps stare in shock, unable to comprehend what just happened. One of the giant wasps panics, ordering her forces to pursue Wang Xiaofeng and not let him escape. The stink bug, celebrating the victory, exclaims, "He did it! He finally got rid of the wasps!" Cheers erupt among the insects in the midst of battle, and Mao Mao, who had nearly given up, orders the others to stop the remaining wasps. High in the sky, Wang Xiaofeng looks down at what he just accomplished. His stats flash before him. Power level, disaster, native monster wasp weight, 3,000 tons. He stares at the glowing numbers in disbelief, wondering what kind of power he just unleashed. But there's no time to celebrate. The mud wasps are approaching fast. As Wang Xiaofeng flies towards safety, he spots the celestial island in the distance and shouts, "Bili, Bimang Mang, Biman Man, come help me quickly." On the outskirts of the celestial island, Bili anxiously asks the others if they've found him. The bees report that they haven't located Wang Xiaofeng yet. Bili, growing more concerned, wonders where he could be. Bimang Mang interrupts with urgent news. A group of mud wasps is flying towards the celestial island. Bili is taken aback. "Why now, of all times?" she asks, hastily ordering the others to prepare for action and investigate what's going on. Meanwhile, Biman Man questions, "What about Wang Xiaofeng? Should we stop searching for him?" Li, worried but practical, replies, "We'll halt the search for now. We need to deal with the immediate threat." As they scramble to defend the island, Wang Xiaofeng is still desperately running for his life. The giant wasp finally catches up to him, and in a sudden collision, our hero crashes into her. Enraged, she curses him for causing so much trouble. Wang Xiaofeng, exhausted but still defiant, refuses to give up. But as he tries to summon the power he used before, nothing happens. Why isn't it working, he wonders, desperate for the energy to return. The giant wasp, growing impatient, hangs him by his neck, demanding he stop messing around. But just then, one of her fellow wasps cries out in fear, warning her sister, "We're in trouble! We're surrounded by the good wasps." Bili scans the approaching wasps and asks if the leader of the mud wasps is among them. Her sharp eyes catch sight of a male wasp accompanying them, an unusual sight for the wasp clan. With a serious tone, the blonde wasp demands an explanation. The giant wasp, visibly nervous, stammers, "It's a misunderstanding. We were just trying to entertain him." Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng pleads with Bili for help, explaining, "They kidnapped me and forced me to have children with them. Please save me." Outraged, the blonde wasp orders her forces to arrest the mud wasps and demands they drop their weapons. The giant wasp watches in terror as spears are pointed at her and her sisters. On another side of the battlefield, creatures captured by the wasps are being led away. They lament their defeat, wondering if the yellow bee clan will come to save them. The stink beetle tries to comfort Mao Mao, insisting that the dung beetle will come because he's a reliable insect. However, both the dung beetle and the flower mantis have been captured as well. Mao Mao, trembling with fear, wonders if they will be fed to the larvae. Frustrated, the stink bug insists again that Wang Xiaofeng will save them. Just then, Yue spots something in the distance and asks her brother to look. The little moth wonders aloud what it could be. Yue squints and exclaims, "It's a group of wasps approaching." Wang Xiaofeng, leading the group of yellow wasps, approaches the creatures who had been captured. "I'm sorry for the wait," he calls out, "but I'm back, and I've brought the yellow wasp clan to save us." Cheers erupt as Wang Xiaofeng and the yellow wasp clan arrive to rescue the prisoners. Wang Xiaofeng rushes to the moth and her sister, asking if they are all right. He apologizes for being late, acknowledging that they must have suffered while waiting for him. The moth shakes her head and replies, "It's nothing. We knew you'd come through." But then she notices something on his chest and asks, "What is that thing stuck to you?" Wang Xiaofeng looks down, surprised. I didn't even notice it, he says, trying to remove the object. But no matter how hard he tries, it won't come off. Confused, he remarks, "That's strange." Mao Mao suddenly screams in fright. Wang Xiaofeng looks at her and asks, "Mao Mao, what's wrong?" Shaking with fear, Mao Mao exclaims, "That thing on your chest! It's the royal seal!" The wasps around them stare in astonishment, their eyes wide at the sight of the royal seal on Wang Xiaofeng's chest. Bili, the leader of the yellow wasp clan, nods slowly. "Now that you mention it, it does resemble the royal seal." Wang Xiaofeng, utterly bewildered, asks, "What the hell is the royal seal?" The moth, steady and composed, begins to explain, "According to legend, a monster with royal qualities will have the royal seal appear on their chest once they are recognized by the will of the universe. This seal grants the bearer unique abilities and the power to protect their people." As she speaks, the image of a golden drone with a bright mark on its chest floats in space, glowing under an intense light. "A creature with the royal seal is destined for greatness," the moth continues, "with powers granted by the will of the universe." Wang Xiaofeng stares at her, still in disbelief. "So I'm really that powerful?" he asks, tentatively. The little moth nods with conviction. "Yes, there's no doubt." Wang Xiaofeng pauses, remembering when his chest felt warm during the fight with the stag beetle and the strange power he unleashed. "So that was the royal seal's power?" he mutters. The moth nods again. "You must have used the power of the royal seal to defeat the stag beetle." Wang Xiaofeng, still processing the revelation, thinks of Queen Bee, the leader of the wasp clan, and wonders aloud if she has something similar on her chest. One of the worker bees speaks up, "In the world of wasps, only female wasps can become queens. It's strange that a male wasp like you has the royal seal." The moth, thoughtfully considering this, nods in agreement. "It is strange," she says. "But perhaps the will of the universe has chosen you for a unique purpose, Wang Xiaofeng." Bi Li steps forward, calming the situation and saying, "The Queen Bia is concerned about Wang Xiaofeng and has asked him to return." The blonde wasp, still stern, reminds Wang Xiaofeng, "We haven't settled our score yet. I told you not to run off until I dealt with you." As they prepare to return home after the long adventure, the blonde wasp extends an invitation. "You're all welcome to visit me any time." Mao Mao, licking her lips, turns to the stink beetle and asks, "Is that thing on the yellow bee's chest really the royal seal?" The stink beetle responds with a disapproving frown, his only response to Mao Mao's curiosity. Just then, the dung beetle and the flower mantis appear, having been released from captivity. The dung beetle, looking around, asks, "Where's Wang Xiaofeng? I need to thank him personally." Mao Mao informs him, "He just left with his sisters." She then asks, "What do you think about having our own king in the underground mining area?" The dung beetle, surprised, responds, "A king?" Mao Mao confirms, "Yes, not like the mud wasps, but a real king with the royal seal." The stink beetle, shocked by Mao Mao's excitement, remarks, "Your expression is kind of scary." Meanwhile, in the Queen Bee's chamber, the queen watches over Wang Xiaofeng, advising him to eat slowly. "You've been through a lot out there," she says. "You can't run away again," as Wang Xiaofeng enjoys a delicious fruit. Bili approaches the queen and asks, "Is that mark on Wang Xiaofeng's chest really the royal seal?" The queen confirms it, smiling. Bili, still curious, asks, "But he's a male wasp. How can he be a king?" With a knowing smile, the queen replies, "Wang Xiaofeng has extraordinary talent. He's been blessed by the will of the universe." Wang Xiaofeng takes this moment to ask, "May I ask a question, Your Majesty?" He continues, "The insects in the underground mining area, who are constantly bullied by the mud wasps, can they take over the mining area?" The queen bee's smile fades slightly as she explains, "When Celestial Island was established, the brutal mud wasps were given the title of rulers of the underground mining area for their resistance against the dragon beast. Since the wasp clans do not interfere in each other's territories, we had no choice but to turn a blind eye to what was happening there. If the mud wasps hadn't caused trouble this time, even we, the yellow wasps, would be facing judgment for recklessly mobilizing troops in the underground mining area." She continues, "Now that the mud wasps are being judged by the Council of Elders, the ownership of the underground mining area will have to be decided through negotiation between the clan elders. Not even I can take possession of it on my own." Wang Xiaofeng contemplates her words, thinking that if he can fully harness the power of the royal seal, maybe he could protect the mining area's residents. The queen bee, seeing the concern in his eyes, gently says, "You are a kind soul, Wang Xiaofeng, but you're still young. You need time to grow and develop safely in the hive before taking on the responsibility of protecting others. Wang Xiaofeng humbly accepts her advice. But just then, a worker wasp rushes in, warning the queen of the presence of two mud wasp warriors, requesting an audience outside the hive. Surprised, the queen bee asks, "Mud wasp warriors? Here?" Moments later, the dung beetle and the flower mantis step forward, introducing themselves to the queen. Wang Xiaofeng's eyes light up as he recognizes his friends. The queen bee, still curious, asks, "What brings members of the mud wasp clan here?" The dung beetle, bowing respectfully, says, "We represent all the insect beasts of the underground mining area. We've come to pledge our allegiance." The blonde wasp and the queen exchange surprised glances. The dung beetle continues, "We humbly request that Lord Wang Xiaofeng lead the people of the mining area. We are willing to defend his honor with our lives." Wang Xiaofeng is taken aback. "How can you pledge allegiance to me?" he asks, bewildered. "We're comrades who've endured hardships together." The dung beetle explains, "This is the unanimous wish of the residents of the underground mining area. They see you as their rightful leader." Wang Xiaofeng, blushing with humility, apologizes, saying, "I'm not ready yet. I still need to learn to control my power. I need time." The queen interrupts him, her voice firm. "Wang Xiaofeng has given his answer. You may leave now." The dung beetle and the flower mantis bow deeply, acknowledging their hasty request. Back in the underground mining area, Mao Mao reflects on Wang Xiaofeng's response. "It didn't sound like a refusal," she muses, "but it wasn't exactly an acceptance either." The stink beetle, still worried, asks, "Do you really think we're good enough to pull this off?" The moth reassures him, saying, "Wang Xiaofeng isn't the kind of insect to turn his back on us." Mao Mao, however, sighs in frustration. "It won't be easy to get the Yellow Wasp clan to take over the underground mining area," she laments. Since Plan A didn't work, Mao Mao thinks to herself, "We'll have to go with Plan B." Curious, Yue asks, "What's Plan B?" Mao Mao, grinning mischievously, replies, "As the most beautiful insect in the mining area, I'll just use a little charm to make the yellow wasp fall into my hands." It's foolproof. Her declaration is met with heavy disappointment from everyone around. Mao Mao, confused by their silence, questions them. "Why aren't any of you saying anything?" The other creatures ignore her, and Mao Mao sulks, kicking her feet in the background. The moth suggests, "Maybe we should just ask Wang Xiaofeng directly about the situation." The dung beetle nods in agreement. Guessing won't help. Now, inside the Dragon King's chamber, Wang Xiaofeng floats unconscious in a pool of viscous liquid. He opens his eyes and panics when he realizes he's submerged, thrashing about to avoid drowning. But then he realizes he can breathe normally, and as he examines his arm, he's overjoyed to see that it's been fully regenerated. As he turns his head, he notices something colossal looming behind him. Wang Xiaofeng lets out a scream and desperately tries to swim away from the Dragon King. After escaping the liquid, he wonders if the monster didn't chase him, because it was too injured. Wang Xiaofeng celebrates his survival for another day, and as he puts on his clothes, he looks at the pool of water and remarks, "This must be where the monster regenerates its flesh. That's incredible." Admiring his new arm, Wang Xiaofeng realizes that the liquid not only healed his injury, but has also strengthened his entire body. However, he notices a strange mark on his arm that unsettles him. With a mischievous grin, he wonders if his body has truly been enhanced. He glances around to ensure no one is watching and begins to admire his new physique. Just then, a strange noise catches his attention. Wang Xiaofeng spots a giant blue monster in the cave, devouring chunks of meat. Frightened by its immense size, Wang Xiaofeng decides that, for now, it's safer to stay hidden inside the cave. Half an hour later, the giant blue monster yawns, causing the cave to shake. Wang Xiaofeng wonders if it's an earthquake, but soon realizes the monster is just settling down to sleep. As it lies down near its food, Wang Xiaofeng sees his opportunity to escape. However, his stomach growls, and he can't help but notice how good the meat smells. "I haven't eaten in a long time," he murmurs, "but the food is just too tempting." He sighs, lamenting that the meat is too high up for him to reach, and wishes for a ladder. Then, he notices pieces of meat slipping from the monster's mouth. The world of dragons is so vast that even a small leftover piece of meat is larger than Wang Xiaofeng himself. When a chunk of meat finally falls to the ground, Wang Xiaofeng celebrates, "Woohoo! Time to feast!" He picks up the piece and begins eating, savoring its rich flavor. "It's so fragrant and tender," he says, between bites, unable to stop eating. A few moments later, Wang Xiaofeng, now with a swollen belly, groans, "I'm so full!" But his satisfaction is short-lived. Out of nowhere, he feels a sharp pain in his stomach. It's as if his body is burning from the inside. He panics, fearing he might explode. Blood begins to trickle from his nose. Warning, a message flashes in his mind. The meat of the 5-star disaster-level volcanic bull is rich in energy. Do not overeat. Meanwhile, back in the hive, Wang Xiaofeng is abruptly awakened by a worker wasp, who tells him to hurry up and get to class. At the Sky Island Bee Academy, he observes rows of bees gathering for lessons. The instructor warns the students that combat is the most important skill for worker bees. Wang Xiaofeng watches the large number of bees, wondering if he'll be participating in the classes too. Bi Li approaches and explains that the worker bees are receiving basic education, but as for Wang Xiaofeng, she will be training him personally. Bi Meng, standing nearby, whispers to Wang Xiaofeng, "Watch out for Bi Li. She's a tough trainer, and after what happened yesterday, she's in a bad mood." Wang Xiaofeng, now nervous, questions Bi Meng. "Wait, what happened yesterday?" Bi Li, clearly irritated, glares at Wang Xiaofeng. "Why are you still standing there?" she snaps, brandishing her spear. "If you don't start focusing, I'll show you what real discipline looks like." Terrified, Wang Xiaofeng scrambles to dodge her attacks, barely keeping up with her relentless strikes. Bi Li, growing increasingly annoyed, lashes out again, her spear slicing through the air as she urges him to concentrate. One of the nearby bees, witnessing the scene, exclaims, "Look, there's a little male bee fighting with Sister Feng Li." The young worker bees are captivated, their eyes wide with admiration. "He's so cool," they cheer. Bi Meng, impressed by Wang Xiaofeng's agility, asks, "Is he really that strong? He's dodging all of Feng Li's attacks." Another bee agrees, remarking, "It's incredible, especially since this is his first training session since he emerged." The worker bees begin to cheer for Wang Xiaofeng, rallying behind him. Wang Xiaofeng, still dodging blows, wonders why it's suddenly so chaotic around him. Summoning his courage, he launches his first attack at Bi Li, but she effortlessly deflects it, barely breaking a sweat. "Still have the strength to counter?" Bi Li teases, her smile widening. "That means you haven't reached your limit yet." Bi Li's expression sharpens, and she challenges him with a grin. "Show me everything you've got, Wang Xiaofeng." Before he can react, she increases the speed of her attacks. This time, Wang Xiaofeng is caught off guard, and finally, Bi Li's spear makes contact, sending him stumbling. Despite landing a hit, Bi Li praises him, "Your agility and judgment are impressive." "I'm truly impressed." The nearby worker bees, excited by the praise, shout, "Wang Xiaofeng is amazing. Even Sister Feng Li praised him." Wang Xiaofeng, blushing shyly, thanks them. "I still have a long way to go," he says modestly, recalling the skills he had honed at martial arts school. "That training really helped me out here." The blonde wasp announces the end of the first stage of the course, and prepares everyone for the second stage. Wang Xiaofeng, still catching his breath, wonders what the next challenge will be. In the outer city of Celestial Island, Bi Li remarks to the other wasps, "It's been a few days since the last cleanup, and the dragon beasts are back." Wang Xiaofeng, listening, deduces that these must be the planet's dragon beasts. 2 massive horned dragons graze in the nearby forest. Their stats flash before him. Disaster level. Cosmic monster, horned dragon beast. Weight 18,000 tons. After everything he's been through, Wang Xiaofeng marvels, "So this is how big insects are on this planet." Bi Li, observing the horned dragons, decides to use them as material for the second stage of the course. Wang Xiaofeng is taken aback. "Wait, what?" Bi Li calmly instructs Bi Meng and Bi Man to perform a demonstration for Wang Xiaofeng. Without hesitation, they agree, confidently saying, "We'll handle it." Wang Xiaofeng, concerned, asks, "Are you sure? Those dragon beasts look powerful." Bi Li reassures him, "Just watch and learn." Bi Mang and Bi Man take flight, glowing brightly as they approach the horned dragons. Out of nowhere, weapons materialize in their hands, and their forms transform into their most powerful versions. The 2 bees face the colossal creatures with unwavering determination. Bi Man is the first to strike, driving her spear into the horned dragon's back. The beast roars in response, feeling the sting of her attack. In retaliation, the horned dragon fires its horns at high speed toward Bi Meng, but she skillfully deflects the attack with a swing of her scythe. Wang Xiaofeng, watching in awe, mutters, What just happened?" Bi Li explains, "This is the star armor. The cultivation limit for most Zerg warriors is 3 stars. However, by pledging allegiance to a sovereign king, Zerg warriors can gain star power through their connection with the Zerg king. This allows them to transform and exceed their natural limits. She continues, that's why Zerg warriors must pledge loyalty to a Zerg king. Wang Xiaofeng, still processing what he's just witnessed, comments, it's like ancient generals who needed to pledge allegiance to their lord to receive troops and supplies in order to maximize their strength. Li nods and tells him, the standard for passing as a worker bee is to master your star armor within 2 weeks. For this second stage of training, you'll need to master it in just 3 days, and defeat a 1-star dragon beast. Wang Xiaofeng, wide-eyed, exclaims, Sister Li, you're a demon! 1 month after arriving on Sky Island, Wang Xiaofeng completed his training with Li. He successfully mastered the star armor technique, evidenced by his updated status card, Disaster Level 1, Star Wasp Beast 2, Wang Xiaofeng, Original Combat Form. He also acquired royal techniques such as Space Manipulation, Weak, and King's Wealth, Weak. The former allows him to swap positions with any object within his perceptual range, while the latter enables him to utilize the abilities of any one of his subjects. These advancements mark a significant milestone for Wang Xiaofeng, who can now adequately protect others and cease to be a burden to his team. Despite these gains, the star armor's energy limitations confine its use to approximately 5 minutes, highlighting a critical vulnerability in his capabilities. Impressed by his rapid progress, Ba Manman commended Wang Xiaofeng for mastering the star armor and royal techniques within a mere month. Bi Mengmeng echoed this praise, acknowledging Wang Xiaofeng's exceptional talent. At the conclusion of the day's training, Li invited him to join her at the palace, where the Bi Tribe Elders' Council was convening. The council, along with other clan leaders, expressed a keen interest in meeting him. Upon their arrival at the palace meeting hall, the Queen Bee apologized for the delay and introduced Wang Xiaofeng to the clan leaders. Surrounded predominantly by female leaders, Wang Xiaofeng respectfully addressed them as esteemed sisters and introduced himself. His demeanor and eloquence left a strong impression on many leaders. Some recognized him as the legendary Little Male Wasp with the royal seal, noting his potential as a leader. Others humorously remarked on his youthful appeal and potential for future partnerships. During the meeting, the Bumblebee Queen, a native monster, and a 5-star disaster-level entity weighing 27,500 tons, made her presence known. She introduced her daughter, Vivi, affirming her status as the queen and successor of the Bumblebee clan. Vivi, acknowledging the Wasp Queen's reputation, expressed her familiarity with Wang Xiaofeng's commendable reputation within the clan. The Bumblebee Queen commended Vivi for her politeness and rapid mastery of the star armor, highlighting her as one of the most talented individuals of her generation. She then requested Wang Xiaofeng to show Vivi around the palace gardens, taking advantage of his familiarity with the area and the opportunity for Vivi to engage with the local flora, thereby fostering a cordial introduction between the future leaders of their respective clans. Suddenly, the Bumblebee Queen began coughing, clearly unwell. Concerned, the Queen Bee asked, "Is your old injury troubling you again?" The Bumblebee Queen, bowing slightly, replied, "Please don't worry. It's just an old ailment, one I've grown accustomed to. I only hope that Vivi matures into a worthy successor before my time runs out." A short while later, in the palace's judgment hall, the Wasp, who had captured Wang Xiaofeng, stood before the Queen Bee. The Queen addressed the leader of the Mudwasp clan. "The elders of the Bee clan have deliberated on your actions. The punishment for your clan has been decided." Desperate, the female wasp pleaded, "I acted out of momentary greed. I beg your majesties for leniency." The Bumblebee Queen, her expression firm, declared, "The Mudwasp clan has committed a grave offense. As of today, the Mudwasp clan is permanently banished from Sky Island." Outraged, the female wasp exclaimed, "Banished? All I did was kidnap a small male wasp. Is that truly such a severe crime?" Both the Bumblebee Queen and the Queen Bee responded with anger. "You kidnapped a small male wasp? Fool! The one you kidnapped is the future third king of Sky Island." The female wasp, shocked, struggled to comprehend. "The male wasp I took is the new king, a male wasp? A king? There must be some mistake." Meanwhile, in the palace's rear garden, Princess Vivi was delighted by the sight of so many beautiful flowers. Wang Xiaofeng, plucking a flower, handed it to her, causing her to blush. "Is he trying to confess to me?" she wondered. But Wang Xiaofeng simply said, "This is a red flower. It's quite tasty." Furious, Princess Vivi thought, "This rascal. Is he playing hard to get with me?" Wang Xiaofeng, puzzled by her reaction, thought to himself, "Why does she seem upset? It's so troublesome to deal with children." Princess Vivi then suggested, "Let's play a game." Wang Xiaofeng agreed, proposing, "How about hide and seek?" Both thought to themselves, "He's just a kid, enjoying such childish games." Suddenly, Wang Xiaofeng noticed a dung beetle and a moth approaching. A bee guard stopped them, saying, "Today is the Bee Tribe Elders' Council meeting. Outsiders are not permitted within the palace." The moth replied, "We only wish to see Xiaofeng for a moment." The dung beetle added, "Can you help us deliver a message to him?" Upon seeing them, Xiaofeng's face lit up with joy. He turned to Princess Vivi and said, "These are my friends. I hope you don't mind, Princess Vivi, but may I excuse myself for a moment?" Princess Vivi nodded, although somewhat disappointed. Leaving someone of my status to greet a few commoners? She thought, what an unusual boy. Later, after the meeting had concluded and the clan leaders had returned to their respective tribes, Xiaofeng approached the Queen Bee. "I've come to bid farewell to your Majesty," he announced. The Queen Bee, surprised, asked, "Farewell?" She moved closer, her concern evident. "What's troubling you, Xiaofeng? Why are you addressing me so formally? And what's this talk of leaving?" Xiaofeng explained, "I've decided to leave and establish my own territory." The Queen Bee looked at him with admiration, then asked, "Are you certain this is what you want?" Xiaofeng nodded. The Queen Bee embraced him, her voice softening. "You've always been a kind soul, Xiaofeng, ever attentive to the struggles of others. I admire that about you. I know you've long desired to help your friends. It's clear now that you were never meant to remain here. With the power of the king at your command, you are ready to carve out your own path. Go now, and remember, this will always be your home. Return whenever you miss us." Xiaofeng's eyes filled with tears at her words, his emotions overwhelming him. As he prepared to leave, the dung beetle and mantis sister approached, bowing deeply. "Your Majesty, we are here to escort you," they said. The Queen Bee smiled warmly. "Take good care of yourself, Xiaofeng, from now on," she said. Xiaofeng nodded once more, his voice resolute. "I will, Queen Bee. I will visit you often." As he walked away, he called back, "This place will always be dear to me." Watching him go, the Queen Bee gently smiled and turned to Beely. "This is the first time I've truly felt what it means to be a parent," she said softly. Beely replied, "But your Majesty, you have long been a mother to us all." The Queen Bee turned to Beely, her tone more formal. "May I ask a favor of you?" "A queen's command is my duty," Beely responded, without hesitation. Meanwhile, the Bumblebee Queen noticed Princess Vivi lost in thought. "What's on your mind, Vivi?" she asked gently. Princess Vivi responded, "It's nothing really. I was just wondering about something I overheard earlier." She had seen Xiaofeng talking with the dung beetle, flower sister, and the little moth, where he had said, "The elders of the bee clan have agreed to grant me the underground mining area, but we both know it's barren and unsuitable for habitation. I need your help to build a new city outside Sky Island's territory." The dung beetle had voiced his concern. "Outside Sky Island's territory, that's where the dragon beasts dwell." Xiaofeng, undeterred, replied, "I understand it sounds like a dangerous fantasy, but over the past month, I've fought countless battles with the dragon beasts. With the power of the king, they are no longer unbeatable. I want to create a safe haven where we are no longer prey. Will you help me?" Without hesitation, both the dung beetle and flower mantis responded, "Of course, we pledge our lives to you, your Majesty the Insect King." From a distance, Princess Vivi overheard their conversation. "He's just a child," she thought, "and yet he speaks with the wisdom of a leader. He'll end up in the jaws of a dragon beast sooner or later." In a distant land, tiny aphids cried for help as a creature warned them to flee. The dragon beast had returned. The creature soared into the air, roaring as it demolished homes. Two smaller creatures stood frozen in shock as the dragon beast's massive foot came to a halt before them. The dragon roared, ready to devour them, while the small creatures trembled in fear. But Wang Xiaofeng, the dung beetle, and the praying mantis, who flew overhead towards the dragon beast. Wang Xiaofeng shouted for the beast to stop, declaring he would not allow it to harm his people. Suddenly, his body began to glow with an intense light, like the sun itself. The dragon beasts watched in awe, stunned by the sheer brightness. Wang Xiaofeng called out to the dung beetle, "Tucan, your opponent is here." He activated his star armor weapon, praying mantis ability, Blade. Then, star armor weapon, dung beetle ability, giant strength, resistant armor. Wang Xiaofeng faced the dragon beast and demanded it release the aphids, challenging it boldly. "If you have the courage, come and get us." The tusked dragons took to the sky, flying straight towards them. The dung beetle, prepared for battle, meeting the dragon head-on. With his immense strength, he caught the beast's attack with his bare hands, absorbing the impact and grabbing its tusks. With remarkable force, Toucan swung the dragon around, colliding it with another. The flower mantis dashed forward, attacking with precision. The tusked dragons, overwhelmed, fell immobilized. The flower mantis sprinted at high speed, but slowed upon sensing the danger ahead. As the massive dragon descended towards the helpless aphids, their cries for help echoed. Startled, the flower mantis hesitated. But Wang Xiaofeng stepped forward. "Leave this to me," he said confidently. Transforming, Wang Xiaofeng activated his star armor weapon in dung beetle mode. Utilizing his spatial control abilities, he rescued the aphids just as a tusked dragon attempted to strike. The creatures were stunned, confused by their sudden change in location. With his giant strength now activated, Wang Xiaofeng grasped the dragon beast with ease, restraining its movements. "Are you all right?" he asked the aphids. Relieved, they gratefully thanked the insect king for saving them. In the underground aphid village, one of the creatures announced to the residents that it was the insect king who had saved them. The aphids wondered aloud if the king had come to reclaim the decaying area they called home. But Wang Xiaofeng reassured them, explaining that his intention was not to take their land, but to provide them with a safer place to live. "I'm here to open a new residential area, where you won't have to fear the dragon beasts anymore." The aphids cheered, grateful for the promise of a peaceful future. Rewind to a few days earlier. In the temporary command post at the underground mine, Wang Xiaofeng discussed plans for his headquarters. "For the past several days, we've been surveying the area around Celestial Island," he said, pointing to a map. "The terrain is flat, there's plenty of food, and a small lake nearby," he explained. "This is the most suitable place for a settlement near Celestial Island. However, the area is bordered by a dense forest, and there are signs of dragon activity. Investigating further could be incredibly dangerous and time-consuming." The dung beetle suggested that her tribe might be able to assist in the investigation. Curious, Wang Xiaofeng asked, "What tribe are you referring to?" The flower mantis interjected with a smile, "You'll find out when the time comes." Soon after, Wang Xiaofeng wrinkled his nose in disgust, complaining about the foul stench in the area. "Why are we here?" he asked. With a mischievous grin, the dung beetle explained, "It's the feces of a young dragon beast, something my tribe adores." Wang Xiaofeng, much like the rest of us, stood there bewildered, understanding absolutely nothing of what the strange dung beetle was talking about. The dung beetle announced the arrival of more creatures. A swarm of flies approached, buzzing with excitement. "Woohoo! Delicious food!" they exclaimed. The leader, a massive fly beast, introduced himself. Disaster level. None, native monster, fly beast, weight 50 tons. The flies eagerly began feasting on the dragon beast's feces, while Wang Xiaofeng, revolted, couldn't help but throw up. The leader of the flies greeted the dung beetle, asking if there was anything she required. The dung beetle introduced herself and informed him that her king had a request. Surprised, the fly leader remarked, "A wasp with the royal seal? Impressive." As he licked his hand and extended it towards Wang Xiaofeng for a handshake, Wang Xiaofeng introduced himself hesitantly. The fly leader, with his saliva-coated hand, proclaimed, "It's an honor to serve Lord Wasp." He then boasted that, by tasting just a bit of feces, he could accurately determine a creature's gender, race, age, strength, whether they had children, and even what they had eaten in the last 2 days. Wang Xiaofeng, shocked by this strange talent, listened as the fly leader rambled on. He quickly cut the conversation short, requesting the leader's help in investigating the dragon beasts near the eastern lake. The fly leader, intrigued, asked if Wang Xiaofeng was planning to take control of the eastern lake territory. Wang Xiaofeng confirmed, explaining his intention to establish a settlement for the insect tribe there. The fly leader accepted the request and immediately called upon his subordinates. He ordered them to join him in scouting the dragon beasts around the eastern lake. As the flies gathered and prepared for their mission, Wang Xiaofeng, the dung beetle, and the little moth watched them depart. Our protagonist, still disgusted, washed his hands in the lake, muttering that the smell still lingered. Mao Mao and the stinky beetle soon approached Wang Xiaofeng. Mao Mao, hearing about his plans to establish a new insect tribe settlement, offered her and her tribe's assistance. Wang Xiaofeng was pleasantly surprised by the arrival of his friends. Mao Mao informed him that nearly 1,000 insect beasts had rallied to join the fight against the dragon beasts at the eastern lake. Dumbfounded by the sheer number of insects assembled, Wang Xiaofeng watched as even more insects arrived, including one carrying a baby. The others cooed and commented on how adorable the baby was. Soon after, a ladybug and several other insects stepped forward, declaring their desire to fight the dragon beasts alongside Wang Xiaofeng. As Xiaofeng turned, he noticed an ant carrying kitchen utensils. Puzzled, Wang Xiaofeng asked what he was holding. The ant proudly explained that they were his cooking tools, which he planned to use to crush the dragon beasts. Embarrassed, Wang Xiaofeng quickly stopped him, warning that they were all just cannon fodder against the dragon beasts. "This isn't a fight you can just walk into," he cautioned. However, before they could respond, a trio of powerful figures entered the scene. Bi Li, Bi Meng Mang, and Bi Man Man. Wang Xiaofeng, surprised, asked why they were there. Bi Li explained that they had been sent under the orders of Queen Bi to protect him. And what a protection it was! No sooner had she spoken than the 5th Squadron of the Wasp tribe appeared before Wang Xiaofeng. Bi Li announced that the squadron would now be under his command. Shortly after, training began for Wang Xiaofeng's insect companions. The dung beetle, with his arms tied, instructed the group to pull him with all their strength. They tried, but it wasn't enough to make him budge. Then, the dung beetle flexed and initiated a spinning move, launching the insects into the air in mere seconds. "The dragon beast's strength isn't something to be taken lightly," he yelled, urging them to get up and keep fighting. Bi Li observed the training, praising the progress the warriors were making. Wang Xiaofeng, now invigorated, encouraged everyone, telling them they were improving quickly. Bi Li, however, explained to Wang Xiaofeng that the task of establishing a new home should be left entirely to the Wasp tribe. The praying mantis, offended by Bi Li's words, spoke out, declaring that while the Wasp tribe was indeed powerful, the other insect tribes were also working hard for their future. Bi Li, unimpressed, retorted, "If effort alone mattered, then what value does talent have?" The praying mantis stepped forward, saying, "Even without the Wasp tribe, we can create a new home with our own strength." The two stared each other down, tension growing. Wang Xiaofeng, sensing a fight, tried to defuse the situation, insisting that they were all comrades and urging them to stop arguing. But the praying mantis snapped, "This is none of your business." Bi Li scolded Wang Xiaofeng, telling him to stay out of it. The praying mantis warned not to underestimate them, while Bi Li smugly added, "Only the weak pretend to be strong." Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng quietly backed away, thinking to himself, "Angry women are terrifying. Better to stay out of this." Now, in the underground mine's temporary meeting hall, the fly leader explained the situation. There were many dragon beasts in the eastern lake area, with the Tyrannosaurus tribe being the strongest. Their leader, a 3-star dragon beast, had developed auxiliary arms, making him the true king of the eastern lake area. His strength was feared even among other dragon beasts. Wang Xiaofeng gathered everyone and announced the battle plan. First, they would investigate the daily routes of the Tyrannosaurus tribe. Once they found a suitable ambush spot, the mine insect tribe would lie in wait on both sides. The fly leader then detailed the second part of the plan. They would use ropes to trap the 1-star dragon beasts at the end of the line, splitting the group in two. The rope tied around a Tyrannosaurus's foot caused it to fall, unbalanced. The other Tyrannosaurs laughed, calling it stupid. The fly leader observed the trapped Tyrannosaurs and explained that the mine tribe's training with ropes had paid off, keeping the 1-star beasts in place. As one of the dragons pondered where the rope had come from, the fly leader outlined the final part of the plan. Use their superior numbers to quickly eliminate all the 1-star dragon beasts. A Tyrannosaurus stood, puzzled, as a bright light formed in the sky. Bi Li, clad in her star armor, readied her spear and shield for the attack. Meanwhile, the leader of the Tyrannosaurs was being held at bay by the dung beetle and Fengli, preventing him from aiding his fellow beasts. A powerful 3-star Tyrannosaurus, donned in red armor, charged towards Wang Xiaofeng, scoffing at the idea of mere insects daring to challenge him. As the battle raged on, 2 Tyrannosaurs were struck by a high-speed energy attack from the flower mantis. They fell, but the Tyrannosaurus leader remained unscathed. Wang Xiaofeng, perplexed, wondered why it wasn't falling. The praying mantis, observing the situation, explained to Wang Xiaofeng that the injury was superficial and advised him to use weight and inertia to his advantage, rather than relying solely on his strength. Wang Xiaofeng realized that the king's wealth technique only allowed him to adopt the abilities of his companions, but to unlock their full potential, he needed to refine his own skills. Bi Meng Meng and Bi Man Man joined him. Bi Meng Meng, pleased with the progress of their plan, noted that everything had gone as intended. However, Wang Xiaofeng urged them not to waste time and to assist the dung beetle and Fengli as the 3-star Tyrannosaurus advanced towards them. The dung beetle positioned himself against the mighty beast, acknowledging its formidable power and referring to it as the strong red treasure. The Tyrannosaurus let out a deafening roar before delivering a brutal attack. Despite the blow, the dung beetle skillfully minimized the damage and taunted the beast for being too slow. Bi Li launched an assault on the Tyrannosaurus with her spear, but the monster easily deflected the attack. Mocking the wasp tribe, it claimed they weren't as formidable as the rumors suggested. The Tyrannosaurus advanced again, scoffing at the notion that the wasp tribe, once feared for its strength, could pose any real threat. Bi Li struggled to maintain her defense, gritting her teeth as the Tyrannosaurus jeered, asking if her star power had run out. Just as things seemed grim, the dung beetle landed a solid punch on the Tyrannosaurus's snout. But the beast quickly recovered, dismissing the attack as superficial. The battle had reached its peak. Bi Li, the flower mantis, and the others cheered on the dung beetle, urging him to hold on as they rushed to his aid. The Tyrannosaurus, unconcerned, referred to them as little chicks and unleashed a devastating iron tail attack. The impact sent Bi Li, Bi Mang Mang, and the praying mantis reeling, leaving them dazed. The dung beetle warned Wang Xiaofeng that he was still no match for the Tyrannosaurus, and that he should retreat immediately. Confused and unsure of what to do, Wang Xiaofeng hesitated. The Tyrannosaurus smugly assured them that after dealing with Bi Li and the others, Wang Xiaofeng would be next. Wang Xiaofeng assessed the situation and realized that even with their combined efforts, they were on the verge of losing. He analyzed the stats of the dung beetle and Bi Li: attack, defense, range, speed, and star power, displayed on detailed graphs in his mind. He concluded that the dung beetle was a tank, best suited for frontal combat, while Fengli was balanced, with no significant weaknesses. The issue, he determined, was the lack of coordination. Wang Xiaofeng then reviewed the stats of the flower mantis, Bi Man Man, and Bi Meng Meng, noting that with the flower mantis's speed, Bi Man Man's long-range support, and Bi Meng Meng's talent for surprise attacks, the tide of battle could turn if they worked together. With a determined expression, Wang Xiaofeng declared, "I know how to defeat the Tyrannosaurus." His companions looked at him in surprise. Wang Xiaofeng explained that they needed to collaborate, combining their unique abilities to form a cohesive strategy. The dung beetle, confused, asked, "Collaborate?" Wang Xiaofeng elaborated that each of them possessed unique strengths, and by working together as a team, they could become unstoppable. He then activated his dung beetle mode, confident that, united, they would achieve victory. Bi Li, Bi Meng Meng, Bi Man Man, the flower mantis, the dung beetle, and Wang Xiaofeng positioned themselves to face the Tyrannosaurus once more. Observing the group of insects, the Tyrannosaurus, unfazed, challenged them arrogantly. "Interesting," it said. "Let's see what you can do." Wang Xiaofeng instructed the dung beetle to absorb the next attack from one of the horned dragons. Without hesitation, the dung beetle braced himself, catching the dragon's punch. In a display of raw strength, he even managed to grab the Tyrannosaurus's powerful bite with his bare hands. The Tyrannosaurus, unfazed, declared, "No matter what tricks you use, nothing surpasses my absolute power." It taunted the group, questioning whether they could really predict the outcome without trying. Wang Xiaofeng quickly issued orders. Bi Li was to support the dung beetle and interrupt the Tyrannosaurus's movements. Bi Man Man was tasked with finding an opening to strike with her poison needle, paralyzing the beast. Bi Meng Meng and the flower mantis would use their speed to target the Tyrannosaurus's vital points. As Bi Li rallied her team, the Tyrannosaurus laughed menacingly. It slammed the dung beetle into the ground, claiming that it ruled the territory and that anyone who challenged it would perish. Undeterred, Bi Li stepped forward and delivered a powerful energy attack, slicing into the Tyrannosaurus. The beast roared in surprise, caught off guard by the sudden strike. As the battle raged on, Bee Mong Mong wasted no time, firing her energy attack, while Bee Man Man struck with her spear. A massive explosion shook the battlefield, but even this was not enough to bring the Tyrannosaurus down. Bee Mong Mong, observing the aftermath, commented, "Our coordinated attack is working." Bee Man Man observed the 3-star Tyrannosaurus, commenting on its impressive strength as it remained standing despite their combined attacks. Frustrated, the Tyrannosaurus growled, irritated by the relentless swarm of insects coming at it one after another. "I never expected a 1-star insect alliance to be so troublesome," it muttered, realizing that its energy was rapidly depleting. Desperate, it decided its only option was to defeat the insects one by one. But before it could act, the Tyrannosaurus, startled, noticed the flower mantis watching it intently. "What are you staring at?" it demanded, roaring in fury. Unfazed, the flower mantis unleashed a powerful energy blast, hitting the Tyrannosaurus squarely. As the mantis darted past, it muttered about the dragon's armor being annoyingly resistant. Enraged by the insect's persistence, the Tyrannosaurus decided to focus its attack on the flower mantis, roaring, "Die!" But the Tyrannosaurus hadn't anticipated Wang Xiaofeng's next move. Xiaofeng, using his spatial manipulation abilities, swapped places with the mantis just in time. He braced himself for the attack, drawing on the power of the dung beetle's immense strength. The Tyrannosaurus delivered a crushing blow, and Wang Xiaofeng was sent hurtling into the ground. The flower mantis called out in concern, but Wang Xiaofeng, embedded in the dirt, reassured the team, "I'm fine." With a furious roar, the Tyrannosaurus unleashed a volley of fireballs from its mouth. Seeing the attack, Wang Xiaofeng quickly warned Bee Man Man, "Be careful." Startled by the incoming fire, Bee Man Man froze, unsure of how to react. In a flash, Wang Xiaofeng once again used his teleportation ability, switching places with her, and taking on the fireballs himself. A colossal explosion rocked the battlefield as the attacks collided. Concerned, Bee Man Man asked, "Wang Xiaofeng, are you all right?" Emerging from the smoke, Wang Xiaofeng, burned and battered, gave a cheeky grin. "I'm fine," he said. "This battle's as sweet as a piece of cake." Suddenly, Bee Mong Mong cried out for help as the Tyrannosaurus's massive paw came crashing down towards her. In the nick of time, Wang Xiaofeng used his spatial transition ability to swap places with her, saving her from being crushed. Exhausted from constantly switching places, Wang Xiaofeng, panting, pointed at her and remarked, "You could have dodged that last attack, you know." Bee Mong Mong, smiling slyly, replied, "Maybe, but I just wanted to feel what it's like to be protected for once." After hearing Bee Mong Mong's words, Wang Xiaofeng, teary-eyed, reminded himself not to get frustrated over small matters. He reflected that problems are temporary and not worth risking his well-being over fleeting emotions. He concluded, in the spirit of Buddha's teachings, that it is better to remain calm and approach challenges with a gentle heart, like clouds floating peacefully across the sky. Meanwhile, the 3-star Tyrannosaurus, panting and worn out, wondered how that resilient little monster, Wang Xiaofeng, had managed to withstand all of its attacks. Exhausted, it muttered to itself that if the battle continued at this pace, it would surely be defeated by the insects. Just then, the flower mantis launched another attack, shouting for the beast not to even think about fleeing. The Tyrannosaurus, overwhelmed, fell to the ground and begged the insects to stop fighting. "Leave me alone. I no longer want the East Lake territory," it pleaded, its tone now one of surrender. "I promise never to provoke you again," the dragon beast added, desperate to avoid further conflict. However, Bee Mong Mong quickly warned the group not to believe the Tyrannosaurus's words, calling it a trick. Beely agreed, pointing out that dragon beasts are known for their strong sense of vengeance. "We must finish it off," she commanded, ensuring the creature would not have the chance for retaliation. Without hesitation, the dung beetle seized the Tyrannosaurus from behind, firmly restraining it. "Don't even think about escaping," he growled. Furious, the horned dragon cursed the insects, proclaiming that the dragon clan would never forget this assault. "When my allies hear of this, your entire kind will be wiped out," it roared. Ignoring the dragon's threats, the dung beetle lifted the Tyrannosaurus effortlessly and ordered the team to strike. With a mighty throw, he hurled the beast, and the bees quickly joined in, bombarding it with their energy attacks. Beely, soaring above the defeated Tyrannosaurus, delivered the final blow with her spear, piercing the beast. Bee Mong Mang cheered, celebrating their hard-won victory. Beely, still in thought, commented, defeating a 3-star dragon beast without suffering a single casualty. This is an unprecedented victory in the centuries-long conflict between wasps and dragon beasts. As she glanced over at Wang Xiaofeng, she pondered his intelligence, adaptability, and sense of responsibility. She marveled at how much care he showed for his comrades. Is Wang Xiaofeng truly just a wasp that recently underwent metamorphosis? She wondered. Meanwhile, there stood Xiaofeng, boasting proudly about how easy the battle had been, claiming everything had gone according to his plan. His face, however, was bruised and battered, a stark contrast to his words. Despite this, his bravado remained unwavering. Bi Mangmang, impressed, praised Wang Xiaofeng, saying, "You're incredible! You dealt with that 3-star dragon beast so easily!" But as Wang Xiaofeng casually walked away, bidding her farewell, Bi Mangmang called out, "Why are you ignoring me?" as Xiaofeng disappeared into the distance. Leaving her behind, Bi Mangmang, with a humble expression, apologized for her earlier behavior. She asked for forgiveness, her tone sincere. Now, at East Lake, the creatures marveled at the breathtaking beauty of the place. Wang Xiaofeng stood before them, gazing proudly at the lake. "From this day forward, this will be our new home," he declared. The excitement was palpable. The insects had finally escaped the oppressive underground slavery imposed by the mud wasps. For Wang Xiaofeng, this moment was filled with joy. "This small part of my life," he thought, "is called happiness." Addressing the gathered insects, Wang Xiaofeng reminded them of the significance of the moment. "This is the first territory conquered by insects outside of Celestial Island. History will remember this day," he said. He explained that the land, once stolen by the dragon beasts centuries ago, would finally be reclaimed. Wang Xiaofeng raised his voice in triumph. "Everyone is free to choose a piece of land and build their new home here. This place will become our Eden." Before he could finish his speech, the insects erupted into cheers and rushed towards the new territory, eager to claim their plots of land. One insect shouted, "Hurry, or the best spots will be taken!" Caught in the middle of the stampede, Wang Xiaofeng called after them, "Wait a minute, I wasn't finished," but his pleas went unheard as the insects scattered, too excited to pay attention. Defeated, Wang Xiaofeng sighed and muttered to himself, "I guess they didn't understand a word of my speech. They just wanted to choose their lands." The moth and her sister approached the poor, crushed Wang Xiaofeng. "Poor guy," they remarked, sympathizing with their overwhelmed leader. Later, at the Star Dragon clan's nest, Wang Xiaofeng carefully and stealthily approached, carrying a basket on his back. Surveying the area, he saw 3 star dragons sleeping soundly, their immense forms casting shadows over a massive pile of food. Excited by the sight, Wang Xiaofeng grinned. "I'm starting," he whispered, eager to gather supplies. Quietly, he began filling his basket with food, carefully storing the provisions in his container. "Ever since I started eating the Star Dragon clan's food, my physical condition has been improving every day," he mused. With his basket now full, Wang Xiaofeng descended from the dragon's table, using a rope, thanking nature for its abundant gifts. As he climbed down, he revealed that during those days he had explored nearly the entire area during the Star Dragon's sleeping hours, uncovering many secrets. "I've found a treasure," he announced to himself with satisfaction. Sifting through a pile of technological junk, Wang Xiaofeng stumbled upon a dusty motherboard. Holding it up, he declared with pride, "I can still use this to build a washing machine." But just as he began celebrating his find, a strange noise echoed through the nest. Startled, Wang Xiaofeng froze and whispered to himself, "What was that?" Wang Xiaofeng approached the bottom of a dark cave, his voice echoing as he yelled, "Is anyone down there?" From the depths of the cave, a trembling voice responded. It was Princess Wei Wei, scared and crying. Hearing the voice of another person, she felt a surge of hope and got to her feet. "I'm Vivi, the 133rd princess of the Galactic Empire," she announced, her voice a mixture of pride and desperation. "Wait a minute, Princess Vivi?" Wang Xiaofeng thought skeptically. "Does this crazy woman have 2 bodies?" Without missing a beat, Princess Wei Wei ordered him, "Save me immediately! I'll reward you with 500,000 star coins." Wang Xiaofeng, balancing a basket of food in his hands, glanced down at the princess. Her demeanor had changed dramatically. She had gone from crying to barking orders the moment she saw him. Shaking his head, he walked away, pretending not to notice her, even as her pleas grew louder. "I'll raise it to 1,000,000. Please don't leave me," Princess Wei Wei begged, her voice echoing in the cave. Looking at his list of goals, Wang Xiaofeng murmured to himself, 100 friends? Check. A 1,000 square meter house? Not yet. Excited, he realized that the seemingly impossible goals from the insect beast world might actually be achievable. However, his mood darkened as he muttered, but the last two, impossible. I can't marry an insect beast. My parents would faint. Suddenly, a devilish version of himself appeared behind him, smirking. There's already a woman right there, the devil teased. Wang Xiaofeng spun around, startled. No way! I saved her once, and she abandoned me without a second thought. Why would I marry such a malicious woman? The devil shrugged. She lives for thousands of years. You'll only live for a few decades. What does it matter if she cheats on you after you die? That's not the point, Wang Xiaofeng snapped. The devil pressed on. Are you sure she didn't have a reason for abandoning you? Could you really let her die because of a misunderstanding? Wang Xiaofeng hesitated, conflicted. The devil's voice turned sharp. There are only 2 humans in this dragon's den. If you don't save her, what will happen to her? Frustrated, Wang Xiaofeng threw a rope down into the cave. Princess Wei Wei, sitting dejectedly at the bottom, looked up in surprise. Hold on tight, Wang Xiaofeng called. I'll pull you up. Princess Wei Wei grabbed the rope and began climbing. As she ascended, recognition dawned on her. Wang Xiaofeng? She gasped. I'm sorry for the nonsense I said before. Don't say anything more, Wang Xiaofeng replied. Just give me your hand. Princess Wei Wei grabbed his hand, bowing slightly. You're really a good... She started, but then her eyes widened. Ghost! She screamed, losing her balance. Huh? Wang Xiaofeng blurted, startled, as Princess Wei Wei slipped. Acting quickly, he caught her hand before she fell. Hold on tight, he urged, pulling her up with him as he climbed the rope. Once they were safe at the top, Wang Xiaofeng warned her, the dragon beasts are resting. Be quiet. Some time passed, and Princess Wei Wei began eating the food Wang Xiaofeng had gathered, her appetite seemingly endless. You're really incredible, she said between bites. To have gone through all that disaster and still be alive, Wang Xiaofeng smirked. Not only am I alive, but I've experienced some amazing things. He gestured toward himself. My height has even increased significantly. Princess Wei Wei blinked in surprise. He offered her water. Drink some or you'll choke. The princess nodded, taking the water gratefully. Thank you, she murmured before drinking deeply. As she sipped, Wang Xiaofeng asked casually, How did the dragon beasts keep you in their lair? The princess hesitated, her expression darkening. It's related to royal secrets, she admitted. Wang Xiaofeng shrugged. If it's inconvenient to talk about it, I won't ask. The two sat in silence, an unspoken truce forming between them as they recovered from their harrowing ordeal. Wang Xiaofeng noticed Princess Wei Wei still seemed hungry. Wait here, he said. I'll go find you a dessert. As he turned to leave, Princess Wei Wei reflected on her past actions. I was so excessive with him, she thought, yet he holds no grudges, and saved me again. Compared to him, she questioned her own character. Wang Xiaofeng, she called out suddenly. He turned, confused. What is it now? She began removing her clothing. Startled, Wang Xiaofeng covered his eyes with his hands. Hey, it wasn't in the plans, but this progress is way too fast. To his surprise, she stopped. It's my royal mark, she explained, pointing to a faint insignia on her skin. Royal mark? Wang Xiaofeng asked, confused. I didn't know humans could have something like that. Princess Wei Wei explained. The royal mark signifies those qualified to inherit the Galactic Empire. It also attracts powerful monsters. Consuming the flesh of someone with the mark greatly enhances a monster's power. Wang Xiaofeng frowned. So, why were you here in the first place? Princess Wei Wei sighed. Originally, I planned to use my royal mark to attract monsters. Then, with the outpost's forces, we'd eliminate them in one fell swoop, boosting my political influence. But the outpost was too fragile. When the situation spiraled out of control, I panicked and fled with the spaceship. I only realized my mistake too late. She approached Wang Xiaofeng, bowing slightly. I've made terrible mistakes. I'll do anything to make it up to you. Please forgive me. Wang Xiaofeng tilted his head. She nodded eagerly. As long as you can get me out of here alive, I'll do whatever you want. Just say the word. Scratching his head, Wang Xiaofeng sighed. Fine. I'll do my best to protect you. Changing the subject, he handed her a slushie. Here, try this. It's my new creation. Princess Wei Wei's eyes widened in surprise. A slushie? Where did you get ice? Wang Xiaofeng grinned. From the fridge, of course. You built a fridge in a dragon's lair? She asked incredulously. That's amazing. Well, Wang Xiaofeng began, scratching his head. There's a robot graveyard nearby. I scavenged parts from there to make things. Princess Wei Wei lit up. Take me there immediately. It could be our chance to escape. Hand in hand, they made their way to the robot graveyard. Upon arrival, Wang Xiaofeng gestured to the mountain of shattered robot parts. "This is the place. The spoils of war from a dragon." Princess Wei Wei looked around, astonished. "These are level 5 or higher robots. Even damaged, with a few parts we could build something capable of getting us out of here." She turned to Wang Xiaofeng with excitement. "Can you build a robot with these parts?" Adjusting his glasses, Wang Xiaofeng looked at her, perplexed. "Each part weighs tons. Without special equipment, it's impossible to move them. I'm not a monster." As he started walking away, Princess Wei Wei called after him. "Where are you going?" Pausing mid-step, an idea struck him. "Wait, monster!" Moments later, Wang Xiaofeng activated his wasp form. Floating in the air, surrounded by a radiant aura, he shouted, "Spatial domination!" Shrinking in size, he reverted to his human form, marveling at his discovery. "It worked!" he exclaimed, observing his hand. "When I change forms, the size changes too. It feels like I've arrived in a land of giants." He looked around in awe. Has my wasp body always been this size? Seeing it from this angle is surreal. A small butterfly approached him, fluttering nervously. "It's time to change your bandages," it said timidly. Wang Xiaofeng, confused by its presence, wondered, "What is this pressure I'm feeling?" The butterfly, startled by his size, flew off in a panic. Moments later, it returned with its sister. "Look!" the butterfly cried. "I caught this strange creature!" The insect sister glanced at Wang Xiaofeng, unimpressed. "That's Wang Xiaofeng. He's injured from fighting the 3-star dragon beast." She scolded the butterfly. "Instead of playing around, you should be taking care of him." "But he's not in his room," the butterfly protested. As the sisters argued, Wang Xiaofeng, now back to his human size, sighed. "What have I gotten myself into?" The little butterfly, holding Wang Xiaofeng in her arms, looked worried. "Are you really Wang Xiaofeng?" she asked. "Yes! Yes!" Wang Xiaofeng confirmed, nodding emphatically. She scrutinized him, tilting her head. "Why do you look like that? Are you hurt?" "Difficult to explain," Wang Xiaofeng replied awkwardly. "How do I even begin to say, 'This is my original form'?" he thought to himself. Meanwhile, a group of insects, led by the dung beetle, the flower mantis, and Ronnie Coleman, was locked in a tense standoff in the forest. Among them were formidable newcomers: the colorful mosquito, the armored elephant, and the green-winged cyborg insect. Ronnie Coleman stood firm, warning the group. "This is where the king rests. Leave immediately." The red insect retorted, "We're here to see the insect king. Of course we won't leave." Ronnie Coleman growled, "The king was injured in the last battle and cannot receive visitors. Withdraw now." The colorful mosquito clicked her tongue in annoyance. "How could you let the insect king get hurt in battle? You call yourselves protectors?" Another insect chimed in, questioning their competence. "If you can't protect the king, perhaps he'd be safer in our care." A text overlay introduced the colorful mosquito. Disaster level, native monster. Weight, 6,600 tons. Ability, sugar blood, lightning. The armored elephant joined in. "It's true. If you can't do your job, we'll take over." Another overlay appeared. Disaster level, native monster. Weight, 15,000 tons. Ability, iron armor piercing. The green-winged cyborg insect added, "If you insist on stopping us, you leave us no choice but to offend you." Disaster level, native monster. Weight, 8,200 tons. Ability, swift metal wings. The dung beetle, refusing to back down, bellowed, "Prepare for battle! Protect the king!" The flower mantis nodded. "Understood." With blinding speed, she lunged at the green-winged cyborg insect, her energy blade clashing against its metallic wings. Meanwhile, the armored elephant launched a spinning attack at the dung beetle, shouting, "Try my drill." Ronnie Coleman intercepted the attack with a single hand. "This is pointless. The difference in power is obvious," he said, shoving the armored elephant back effortlessly. The dung beetle marveled at Ronnie's strength. "He's stronger than I thought." The colorful mosquito spat blood, grimacing. "This blood tastes terrible. Dragon beast blood was much better." Nearby, Mau Mau watched the chaotic battle, muttering, "They're fighting! They're fighting!" Bimong Mong observed from a distance. "These newcomers are capable," she commented, "but their coordination is weak. They'll fail sooner or later." Amidst the chaos, the little butterfly arrived, with Wang Xiaofeng still in her arms. "What's going on here?" she asked. Mau Mau explained. "Some insect warriors came looking for the insect king. Stinky Beetle stopped them, and now they're fighting." Stinky Beetle sighed, clearly irritated. This has gone on long enough. Wang Xiaofeng, shocked, exclaimed, "They're looking for me?" He grew worried. If this fight continues, someone's going to get hurt. I need to stop them. The little butterfly looked at him, puzzled. "Why are you sleeping?" she asked, only to realize he wasn't there anymore. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng emerged from a red pool in his wasp form. He sighed in relief. "This pool works wonders. My body has almost fully recovered, and my star energy is replenished. Time to put an end to this madness." Moments later, Wang Xiaofeng appeared in the forest, donning his gleaming star armor. His voice boomed through the chaos. "Stop!" The fighting insects froze, turning toward him in shock. Wang Xiaofeng stood between them, radiating authority. "As Insect King, I command you to stop this pointless fight immediately." The colorful mosquito chuckled. So the rumors about the Insect King were true. The armored elephant, astonished, asked, "You are the Insect King?" The colorful mosquito and the green-winged cyborg insect exchanged glances before bowing in reverence. Wang Xiaofeng, standing tall and resolute, observed them with a sharp gaze. There's no room for petty squabbles when the safety of the insect kingdom is at stake. "Wait," Wang Xiaofeng said, astonished. "You weren't here to cause trouble?" The colorful mosquito smiled. "Of course not. We've heard all about you. The rumors are legendary." "Rumors?" Wang Xiaofeng asked, confused. The mosquito continued. "They say you abandoned your noble status, led the lower-class insects, resisted the oppression of the nobles, swore to annihilate the dragon beasts, and reclaimed the ancestral lands of the insect beasts." "Where did you hear such things?" Wang Xiaofeng asked, scratching his head. The cyborg insect stepped forward. "I saw it in a pamphlet. That's why I decided to join you." The armored elephant, with a booming voice, added, "Insect King, would you sign my pamphlet?" The colorful mosquito chimed in, "The flying insect clans have been spreading the word about your heroic deeds. It's all over the place." Wang Xiaofeng grabbed one of the pamphlets, skimming its contents with growing disbelief. "Recruitment order for the annihilation of the dragon beasts. Reclaiming the ancestral land of the insect beasts. Restoring past glory and recruiting talent." Wang Xiaofeng turned to Mao Mao and the stinky beetle. "Do you two know who made these?" Mao Mao, her hand on her head, pretended to think hard. "Pamphlets! About you! Someone must really admire you!" The stinky beetle grinned. "You're famous now, Insect King." Suddenly, a flying ladybug approached, panting. "Mao Mao, all the pamphlets are gone. Should we print more?" Mao Mao nodded absent-mindedly. "Yes, print more. And Stinky Beetle, where should we put the statue?" Wang Xiaofeng, stunned, stared at the commotion. "Statue? Pamphlets? What is all this?" Mao Mao waved a hand dismissively. "It's a long story," the Stinky Beetle added. "A very long story." Mao Mao, realizing their cover was blown. "We've been discovered! Run!" And the Stinky Beetle and Mao Mao bolted, leaving Wang Xiaofeng standing there, speechless. "Idiots!" he shouted after them. As he sighed, the colorful mosquito approached again, clearly smitten with him. But before the situation could escalate further, we shift back in time to a glimpse of the flower mantis's tragic past. The little praying mantis cried out for her parents as they were impaled by giant pieces of wood. Tears streamed down her face as she stared at the lifeless bodies of the ones she loved most. Suddenly, the dung beetle arrived, scanning the destruction. "Thank goodness," he murmured. "There are survivors." The little mantis, clinging to her last shred of hope, begged, "Please save my parents." The dung beetle shook his head grimly. "They're already gone. This place is dangerous. We need to leave." But the little mantis refused, sobbing, "I can't leave them." A shadow loomed over her, a massive silhouette of a predator. The memory ended as the flower mantis woke up with a start, gasping for air. "That dream again," she whispered, clutching her chest. She stepped outside, observing the bustling activity of the insect kingdom built by Wang Xiaofeng. Insects worked together, creating a more prosperous society. But the flower mantis, standing behind a tree, still harbored unresolved anger. Nearby, a creature approached Wang Xiaofeng and his group. "We're refugees from the borderlands," it explained. "We heard of the great Bee King and have come with over 200 insects to pledge our allegiance." Wang Xiaofeng nodded. "If you trust me, I promise to take good care of your people." The creature bowed. "Thank you, mighty Bee King." Wang Xiaofeng smiled warmly. "We're all part of the insect beast family. No need for formalities." Later he remarked, "More and more insect beasts have been seeking refuge lately." The dung beetle explained, "There must have been another battle on the front lines." B. Li added. The front lines are where the 5 insect kings gather every 5 years, assembling armies of all 2-star or higher insects to fight the dragon beasts. Next year, the beetle and I will go there, she said. Wang Xiaofeng raised an eyebrow. No wonder most of the insects here aren't even 2-star level. B. Li nodded. That's because the stronger ones are all fighting on the front lines. Wang Xiaofeng, surprised, asked, Wait, 5 other insect kings? Besides me? B. Li nodded again. Yes, insect beasts near Empty Island or the coast don't have to worry about dragon beasts because they're protected by the other insect kings. Wang Xiaofeng pondered this revelation, realizing the sheer scale of the battles and responsibilities he now faced as an insect king. B. Li continued, explaining the division of the insect beast realm into 3 major regions, each facing constant threats from the dragons. She elaborated, the eastern region is protected by 3 bee kings, the Yellow Jacket Queen, the Bumblebee Queen, and, of course, you, Wang Xiaofeng. B. Li provided further details. Yellow Jacket Queen. Disaster level, 5 stars. Species native monster Yellow Jacket. Weight, 27,000 tons. Ability, Mother of the Realm. Her Mother of the Realm. Ability allows unrestricted communication and the transfer of star energy between blood relatives within sensory range. Bumblebee Queen. Disaster level, 4 stars. Species, native monster. Bumblebee. Weight, 27,500 tons. Ability, Imperial Guard. Her Imperial Guard ability ensures that within her sensory range, injuries sustained by any blood relatives are reduced by half. B. Li continued. The northern region is defended by the Stag Beetle King and the Rhinoceros Beetle King. Rhinoceros Beetle King. Disaster level, 4 stars. Species, native monster. Rhinoceros Beetle. Weight, 82,000 tons. Ability, Sovereignty. Sovereignty forces a one-on-one duel between any chosen member of his side and an opponent within a set range. Only one can survive. Stag Beetle King. Disaster level, 5 stars. Species, native monster, Stag Beetle. Weight, 90,000 tons. Ability, Royal Crusade. Royal Crusade sends all subjects within sensory range into a frenzy, enhancing all their attributes. Wang Xiaofeng, impressed, asked, With such strong insect kings, how are we still losing territory to the dragons? The flower mantis stepped forward. It's because the insect kings are up against the dragon generals, each a terrifying 6-star disaster level. The 4 dragon generals won. Red Extinction, disaster level, 6 stars. Species, cosmic monster, weight, 890,000 tons. 2. Wuxiang, disaster level, 5 stars. Species, cosmic monster, weight, 550,000 tons. 3. Tide Mirage, disaster level, 6 stars. Species, cosmic monster, weight, 1,050,000 tons. The flower mantis explained, the dragon generals draw their strength from the Star Dragon King himself. Their overwhelming power is why even the insect kings struggle. Wang Xiaofeng's face turned pale. 6 stars? That's terrifying. The flower mantis added, I'll reach 2 stars soon and join the front lines. Ronnie Coleman intervened. You're too young. Don't be reckless. Wang Xiaofeng, inspired, declared, I'll train harder and become stronger so we can fight together. B. Li grinned. Since you're so eager, we'll increase the intensity of your training starting tomorrow. Wang Xiaofeng groaned. Isn't there a faster way to get stronger? B. Li smacked him. Do you hate my training that much? But yes, there is a faster way. By consuming the flesh of high-level dragon beasts. The stronger the dragon, the more effective it is. The 1-star and 3-star dragon meat we recently obtained might produce some 1-star insect warriors. Wang Xiaofeng pondered this, recalling his experiences in his other body, where dragon meat played a crucial role in his development. Meanwhile, in the robot cemetery, the other Wang Xiaofeng inspected their resources. We've gathered enough material and energy to build robots, he said. The problem now is the blueprint. I've repaired robots, but building one from scratch without detailed instructions is impossible. As he mulled over the problem, Princess Weiwei interrupted, lying on the ground and looking shaken. It's the Star Dragon King. Wang Xiaofeng stiffened. The Star Dragon King? What's he doing here? Weiwei pointed toward the dragon's lair. That monster. It's recovering in that pool. Facing the lair, Wang Xiaofeng narrowed his eyes. Don't worry, he reassured her. The Star Dragon King has been recovering in that pool for a month, and his injuries still haven't healed. His knees are far from functional. The two stared at the lair, the tension in the air palpable. As they realized the dangers lurking nearby, Wang Xiaofeng paused, staring toward the Dragon King's lair. If we let the Star Dragon King recover, It's going to be a problem, he muttered. A moment of realization crossed his face. Isn't that high-level dragon meat just waiting to be eaten? Turning to the crying Princess Wei Wei, he reassured her. Don't worry, I won't let him recover before we leave. She clung to him tightly, trembling with fear. Wang Xiaofeng thought smugly. Let go of my arm, he said finally. Wei Wei quickly released him, blushing as she apologized. Inside, Wang Xiaofeng couldn't help but think, well, that did feel pretty nice. Wei Wei scolded herself internally. I'm Princess Vivi, the 133rd princess of the Galactic Empire. I can't act like a scared little girl. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng smirked and muttered under his breath, Ugh, my irresistible charm is too much to handle. Suddenly, a dragon turtle appeared, pouring more liquid into the red pool. It observed the pool carefully. The Dragon King's wound should be healed by now. However, its expression shifted to shock as it noticed something amiss. His leg! It's gone! The dragon turtle exclaimed, bewildered. The dosage of the medicine was correct. Why hasn't it healed? Determined, the dragon turtle decided to increase the dosage. Meanwhile, in his wasp form, Wang Xiaofeng floated near the red pool, holding a piece of the Star Dragon King's flesh. I really did cut off a piece of his leg, he murmured. Using the spatial manipulation ability of his wasp form, he had not only switched places with his body, but had also teleported the dragon meat into his possession. That's so cool, he thought, admiring his ingenuity. He examined the dragon meat carefully. How many stars does the Star Dragon King have? He wondered aloud. Shrugging, he decided it didn't matter. Wang Xiaofeng skewered the meat with a fork and took a bite. The moment he swallowed, a powerful pulse surged through his body, enveloping him in a radiant aura. The light emanating from his treehouse startled everyone nearby. Wow! Someone muttered. He's about to become unstoppable. In Greystone Canyon, located on the eastern Sky Island, chaos reigned. Dragons soared through the sky as General Lord Tao led the dragon army toward the second line of defense. The first line of defense had fallen, and the female warriors of the bee tribe lay defeated, their attempts to protect their homeland in vain. Back in the insect kingdom, Yue and the little moth stared at the glow and explosion emanating from Wang Xiaofeng's treehouse. What's going on with Xiaofeng? Yue asked, concerned. Inside his room, Wang Xiaofeng coughed, the residual energy from the dragon meat coursing through him. Yue and the little moth rushed in. Are you okay? Yue asked worriedly. I'm fine, Wang Xiaofeng replied, his voice steady. He paused, glancing at his body. Disaster level. 2 stars. Weight, 5,000 tons, he muttered, surprised at his transformation. You've grown taller, Yue exclaimed. Did you level up? It seems so, Wang Xiaofeng said, with a sheepish grin. The little moth, wide-eyed, exclaimed, 2 stars in just a month. You're a genius. How did you do it? Blushing, Wang Xiaofeng stammered, I trained hard every day. No way I'm telling them I was cheating with dragon meat, he thought. At an emergency insect meeting, Bee Mong Mong burst in, carrying a wounded bee. Beely, this bee is from the bee tribe near the forest. She says she urgently needs to see the queen of the wasps. Beely, Mau Mau, Stinky Beetle, and Dung Beetle exchanged shocked looks. What happened? Beely asked, alarmed. The wounded bee weakly explained, General Taoyan, one of the dragon generals, launched a surprise attack on Greystone Canyon. The first line of defense has fallen. The room fell silent, the weight of the revelation settling in. Beely quickly took charge. I'll send someone to inform the queen immediately, she declared. Bimangmang, take the injured bee to have her wounds treated. By Man, notify the residents to prepare for evacuation. The dung beetle, stunned, muttered, Greystone Canyon, the strongest defense of the insect tribe, known for being easy to defend, but difficult to attack. How did it fall so easily? Beely replied grimly. The bee queen was ambushed by the dragon army and gravely injured. Without her full power, the warriors' star armor usage time decreased, weakening their strength. The gravity of the situation set in. But then, to everyone's surprise, Wang Xiaofeng entered the scene, his voice echoing with conviction. I'm against the evacuation, he declared. The dung beetle blinked, astonished. Xiaofeng, did you level up again? Leave that aside, Wang Xiaofeng replied. Why should we abandon the lands we fought so hard to recover? If we give up now, we're back to square one, Beely responded calmly. It's not giving up. This is just a temporary evacuation. Xiaofeng shook his head. If we can't protect this place, what's the point of having insect beasts join us? What message does that send to those who believed in us? Beely sighed, explaining, Taoyan, One of the 4 dragon generals is leading this attack. His main target might not even be us, but his 3-star dragon beasts will slaughter anyone in their path. We can't stand against them yet. Mao Mao tried to console him. Xiaofeng, forget about it. We're used to this. Once they leave, we'll return and rebuild. But Xiaofeng refused to accept this. No, letting the dragon beasts destroy our home again is absolutely forbidden. If we let this happen, then we've truly lost. Bili, frustrated, scolded him. Stop being stubborn. This is not the same as fighting random dragon beasts at the border. This is a full-scale attack led by a general. I know that, Xiaofeng replied sharply. But it's they who should leave, not us. Turning to Mao Mao and Stinky Beetle, he ordered, Gather all the insect beasts willing to fight. I have something important to prepare. Mao Mao and Stinky Beetle nodded. Understood, they replied, rushing off to fulfill his orders. Xiaofeng then turned to Yue Yue and the little moth. You wanted to know how I advanced 2 ranks in a month, didn't you? They nodded eagerly. Follow me, Xiaofeng said, leading them to the kitchen with a sly grin. His solution was as brilliant as it was simple. He had Yue Yue prepare a delicious Dragon King soup. As Mao Mao, Stinky Beetle, and other insects approached, the little moth ensured they lined up properly. One at a time, she ordered. Stinky Beetle grumbled about the small portion. Just a spoonful, the little moth explained. It's not to fill your stomach, just trust me. Grudgingly, Stinky Beetle agreed. Bili, observing the large pot, asked, Why did Xiaofeng make so much soup? Bimeng took a bite from her bowl, noting the abundance of meat. This is amazing, but what's he planning? Bili frowned, thinking Xiaofeng was overconfident after his easy victory against the tyrannosaurs. I need to stop him before he does something reckless, she muttered, taking a bite of the soup herself. Her eyes widened in shock. This meat isn't normal! Mang and Man turned to her, alarmed. Before she could answer, Xiaofeng addressed the gathered crowd. Listen, everyone. A group of dragon beasts is about to invade our lands. The insect beasts fell silent, listening attentively. I know you're all tired of this wandering life, he continued. Tired of seeing our kind slaughtered. Beneath this land lies the resting place of our ancestors. We are the rightful masters of this place, and we will not give it up. The colorful mosquito, completely smitten, whispered, The rumors are true. He's the powerful Hornet King, worthy of my loyalty. Xiaofeng declared, I will drive out the invading dragon beasts. If you're willing to stand with me, drink the soup and prepare for battle. The insects, inspired by his speech, shouted in unison, For the Insect King! One by one, they drank the soup. The results were immediate and astonishing. Stinky Beetle, enveloped in a powerful aura, exclaimed, I can feel the power! Disaster level, 1-star species. Local monster, Stinky Beetle. Weight, 10,000 tons. Ability, Stinky Bomb. The transformation spread through the ranks. Dung Beetle, disaster level, 3 stars. Weight, 35,000 tons. Abilities, Armored Power, Gigantification, Flower Mantis. Disaster level, 2 stars. Weight, 8,600 tons. Ability, Swift Blade, Bili. Disaster level, 3 stars. Weight, 9,000 tons. Abilities, Bi-Sting, Bi-Venom, Bimeng, Mong, and B-Man. Disaster level, 2 stars. Weight, 8,000 tons. Abilities, Bee-Sting, Bee-Venom, Blue Wings. Disaster level, 2 stars. Weight, 11,000 tons. Abilities, Divine Speed, Steel Wings. Armored Elephant disaster level, 2 stars. Weight, 36,000 tons. Abilities, Armored Power Drill. Colorful Mosquito disaster level, 2 stars. Weight, 7,600 tons. Abilities, Teleportation, Blood Control. The power boost invigorated the insect army. As the transformations concluded, Xiaofeng, now radiating confidence, shouted, To battle! Drive out the dragon beasts! The insect beasts roared in agreement, their newfound strength fueling their resolve. Together, they charged forward, ready to defend their home and reclaim their land from the dragon invaders. The insect warriors, brimming with resolve, shouted in unison, Defeat the dragon beasts! As a swarm of insects filled the skies, their cries of determination echoed, Let's go to the new world! The swarm flew over a lush forest, their numbers darkening the skies like a living cloud. Meanwhile, on the ground, Mao Mao muttered in frustration. Why are we being left behind? She watched the flying insects wistfully, lamenting her inability to join them in the air. Disaster level. Local monster. Name, Mao Mao. Weight, 15,000 tons. Ability, Spit, Gluttonous Silk. Bi Li approached Wang Xiaofeng, her tone serious. Do you have a battle plan, Xiaofeng? Our hero nodded and began to explain. According to the map, Greystone Canyon has only one river channel wide enough to accommodate the Dragon Beast army. The river fork can restrict their movements, and the surrounding villages can provide vital supplies. Bimang Mang and Biman Man noticed Wang Xiaofeng's furrowed brow. Why are you so downcast? They asked. Bi Li reassured him. There's no need to worry too much. After the upgrades, our legion now has the strength to fight against the 3-star Dragon Beast Legion. Wang Xiaofeng sighed. It's not our fighting strength I'm worried about. It's the villages. If the dragon beasts destroy them before we get there, he trailed off, then added, Can we hurry? Bi Li shook her head firmly. No. If we rush into battle while exhausted, it will lead to significant losses. I understand your urgency to save your fellow insects. But leading troops into battle cannot be done on impulse. She continued, her tone steady and measured. A single act of recklessness by a commander can lead the entire legion to disaster. But Wang Xiaofeng, his voice resolute, replied, I can't just stand by and watch my fellow insects be slaughtered. Turning to Blue Wings, the colorful mosquito, and the elephant beetle, he asked, What are your abilities? The powerful insects stepped forward, their voices in unison. We are at your service. Meanwhile, in the canyon village, chaos reigned. Flames engulfed the wooden homes as a massive dragon spewed fire, scattering fleeing insect beasts in every direction. A desperate insect pleaded with the dragon beast lord. Please spare my wife and child. I'll do anything. I'll be your slave. The dragon beast lord tilted his head mockingly. You'll be my slave, He smirked. I'm in a good mood today. Fine, I'll give you a chance. Relief briefly flickered across the insect's face. But then the dragon beast lord's voice turned cold. You can only choose one. The insect froze in shock. One? The dragon beast lord grinned wickedly. Your wife or your child? Choose wisely. The insect stammered, paralyzed by the impossible decision. The dragon's laughter echoed as he turned his gaze toward the trembling child. I'll make the choice for you, he declared. I'll eat the little one. The child screamed in terror. Father, help me! But then, cutting through the chaos at supersonic speed, came Wang Xiaofeng. His voice boomed through the air. Switch! Using Blue Wing's divine speed, Wang Xiaofeng arrived in the blink of an eye. He unleashed the powerful fist ability he had copied from the dung beetle, delivering a punch so mighty it distorted the dragon's face entirely. The dragon staggered, roaring in pain. Boss! The other dragon shouted, astonished by the strength of the Hornet King. Wang Xiaofeng caught the insect father and child midair as they fell, holding them securely in his arms. I got you, he exclaimed, his voice firm yet comforting. The child, wide-eyed and trembling, looked up at his savior. You're the Hornet King! Wang Xiaofeng, resolute, declared, I'll handle this. Everyone, retreat quickly. The insect father clutched his family, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, Hornet King, he said gratefully, retreating as ordered. Meanwhile, the dragon, still reeling from Wang Xiaofeng's earlier strike, groaned and snarled, Who dares ruin my mood? Wang Xiaofeng, his gaze sharp and unyielding, stepped forward. Why do you torment villagers and soldiers who are doing their best to protect their home? The dragon sneered, confused. What nonsense are you spouting? Angered, Wang Xiaofeng's voice rang out. Death to all celestial dragons! The dragon mocked him. A mere 2-star insect beast dares to threaten us. Wang Xiaofeng smirked and replied, I'm not the only one who wants you dead. Suddenly the sky darkened. The celestial dragons looked up, initially thinking it was a meteor shower, but their smug expressions faltered when they realized it was the insect army, descending upon them like a storm. The insect army, led by Bi Li, Bimang Mang, Biman Man, Flower Mantis, Blue Wings, Dung Beetle, Colorful Mosquito, and Blind Elephant, surged forward with unwavering determination. Enemy attack! A celestial dragon bellowed. The lead dragon scoffed. Forget these pitiful insects. Focus on killing the villagers. The dragon minions roared, charging toward the remaining villagers under the command of Tao Yan. The battle began, pitting 5,200 insect beasts against 870 dragons. Bi Li, noticing Wang Xiaofeng in the chaos, warned him, You can't be reckless. Find a safe place to hide. Dung Beetle chimed in, Let us handle this. You're too valuable. But Wang Xiaofeng shook his head. I'm not the coward I used to be. Before Bi Li could stop him, Wang Xiaofeng dashed toward the lead dragon. Wait! She cried, But it was too late. She quickly ordered Bimang Mang and Bimanman to protect the Insect King. On the battlefield, one dragon sneered, 2 3-star insects? One of them must be the leader, another dragon yawned. These 1-star insects are boring. They're putting me to sleep. But then the ground trembled as even more formidable enemies appeared. Sacred Wind, dragon disaster level, 3 stars, weight 230,000 tons. Lizard Dragon, disaster, level 3 stars, weight 610,000 tons. Stegosaurus, disaster level 5 stars, weight 420,000 tons. Bi Li's eyes widened in despair. Why now? Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng combined Blue Wing's divine speed with Flower Mantis's swift blade, launching himself at the dragons with ferocity. His new technique, dubbed grass-cutting mode, slashed through several dragons with ease. This is far more effective than using their abilities separately, he thought. But before he could celebrate, an immense shadow loomed over him. Found you, Tao Yan growled. The dragon general, radiating power, deduced, "You're the source of the insect army's star power." Wang Xiaofeng barely had time to react as Tao Yan unleashed the celestial thunderstrike, a massive lightning attack. The blow sent him hurtling to the ground, coughing. The celestial dog dragon, smirking, said, "Killing him will collapse the insect army." Celestial dog. Dragon, disaster level 3 stars, weight 180,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng, wincing, muttered, "He can fire lightning bolts now? This is worse than the 3-star dragon beasts at Eastlake." The celestial dog dragon explained, "Elementalization of star power is the hallmark of a 4-star rank. I'm leagues above the mediocrity of the border dragons." The dragon unleashed a barrage of lightning, each bolt aimed to obliterate Wang Xiaofeng. One dragon, witnessing the chaos, shouted in fear, "The boss is going all out! Run for your lives!" Another dragon, unimpressed, scoffed, "What's there to fear? His thunder spear never misses. That insect is finished." As Tao Yan prepared to hurl his thunder spear, Wang Xiaofeng smirked, "Let's see about that." Using his spatial swap, Wang Xiaofeng switched places with one of the smaller dragons. The confused dragon general hurled the thunder spear, only to pulverize one of his own. The remaining dragons stared in shock.